Welcome back one and all here to the Riyadh Masters as we continue the first day of the playoffs. It is indeed Super Tuesday and we've now reached the halfway mark, which means we need some more best of three action. The next matchup is truly going to be a blockbuster experience as we have Team Spirit taking on the side of Team Aster. The teams are arriving, they're about to get themselves set up. So that means we have to set up the action we're going to be witnessing here today. My name is Sneh, I'm joined on panel by BSJ, Fear and Lacoste. BSJ, the last time that these two teams met was in 2022 in the upper bracket at Arlington. Well, they met this year before, right? But in a playoff situation like this, it was Team Spirit that came away with a W that time. But what's interesting to me is that neither of these teams have gotten an upper bracket win in 2023. So it's pretty high stakes for this one and a lot of cash on the line.
I'd say both these teams are kind of coming into form finally. Whether it's Aster adding Sumail and now Kaka over Baboka, or it's Laurel settling into his new roster. I feel like both these teams are slowly but surely establishing an identity and learning to basically say what works for us moving on with the roster that we have.
Speaking of Laurel, actually, Fear, a lot of people have given this guy, to be fair, a lot of slack, right? Taking him a little bit of time to come into his own. But at this tournament, especially on his signature heroes, I think the arguments are starting to recede a little bit as to whether or not he deserves a spot on this team.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think right now when you get to big tournaments like the Riyadh Masters, like some players just turn up. Whether the other teams are a bit more nervous and he plays on a steady rate, sometimes you just like pop off on these big stage tournaments. And Laurel, he's been doing a lot better. And I was one of those people like, Laurel, live or die by this guy. Either he has a good game, Spirit wins. He has a bad game, Spirit loses. Still somewhat the case, but he's not having many of those bad games anymore.
Yep, he's really having a lot of good performances. One of the changes that we've also seen being made by Team Aster, BSJ already mentioned the inclusion of Sumail, but Kaka, the inclusion of Kaka, any Chinese fan knows you get this guy into the team, it immediately upgrades you. But Lacoste, right? Let me just tell you how much high variance Kaka can give you. In his professional career, Kaka has only come top 8 4 times. It's either he's bottom 6, right? 14 times bottom 6, or he gives you top 6 almost guaranteed. This guy really is a game changer.
Yeah, most definitely. But I think this is a true test because I checked some of the stats and Team Aster, they did not win a single best of 3 in their last 12 series, which is pretty nuts to think about. So this one, you know, on paper should belong to Team Spirit, but yeah, a lot on the lines, like a lot on the shoulders of Kaka to actually carry the team. Sumail did talk about Kaka in an interview in one of those games at the main stage because he's like, how does this communication now work? They're so vocal, especially since Kaka joined. There's like non-stop talking, and I don't know if that's too good because, you know, some players do need to have a bit of a peace of mind while they're playing Dota. It doesn't need to be too chaotic, but seems like everybody is talking a lot, which could also be a really good thing.
I mean, speaking of communication, that's one of the positive aspects of Team Spirit, right? You have players like Miposhko, who's been renowned and known for just being able to communicate very clearly. You have a carry player like Yatoro as well, who has an outsized voice in this team. He hasn't been playing as diverse a hero pool as we normally are accustomed to him doing, but he's been very good on the heroes that he has been playing here, BSJ. He is second most in loss hits in the entire tournament at this point, 4th highest loss hits per minute. In terms of a carry performance, a carry player, what have you thought about him in this tournament so far?
I just want to say, you know how to sweet talk me with all those beautiful carry stats, but I always like watching Yatoro. He just has his own view of the game. Let's just say it that. We've talked about, I remember Faith Beyond mentioning on panel, like this guy and the rest of Team Spirit, they're tryhards in the sense that like when they're losing, they always have an idea in mind of exactly how they're going to win. And I think a lot of like the win condition and exactly closing out either a lead or coming back from behind falls in the hands of the carry player, whether it's his item timings, whether it's the objectives he wants to take. And Yatoro is definitely an instrumental part of that for this team.
Well, Team Spirit have been utilizing Yatoro to very good effect to get themselves into the upper bracket of the Riyadh Masters. Let's find out more directly from Team Spirit themselves, how they feel about their journey into the playoffs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here again. I don't know if this is airing before or after the other interview, but I'm here with Silent, coach of Team Spirit, of course. They just said that they would do a gentleman's ban on Timbersaw. Would you take that ban? Do you believe that they wouldn't pick it?
We might play it. We already played it before in group stage, I saw, and its success was beyond owning, like beyond godlike, something like this. So maybe we're lying.
Okay, revealing some potential strategies. Maybe we don't want to put this one on the air, but is there any cheese picks that came out in this tournament that you were surprised by?
Cheese picks. I think every pick of 9 pandas is cheese pick, and you got surprised, but mostly because of flex, because you really don't know which hero gonna choose what role.
So you don't like playing against the flex picks. All right, final question. For your cheese picks, is there anything that you could pull out in this series that maybe you won't, but something that would really surprise the audience that's cheesy?
If you're gonna pick that hero, what would surprise enemy? Or maybe Brood. I think we don't expect Broodmother from us, but I not think we're gonna pick it. But small chance it might happen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, some collapse Broodmother, or maybe not collapse.
Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, thank you for the interview. Good luck, my friend. And back to you, Shiver. Or Snare, I don't know, somebody.
Thank you, Jenkins. That is, of course, Silent, coach of Team Spirit, TI winning coach of Team Spirit. And Broodmother is one of these heroes that they do not pick. Unlike any other team at this tournament, they've only played it once and they lost that game. So unlikely we see Team Spirit busted out. And Fear, you know, Silent used to be a carry player himself, and BSJ was mentioning, I was sweet-talking him about carry stats. You know which carry has impressed me the most at this tournament? It has to be Monet, right? Because check this out, hear me out.
Okay.
Second highest kills, second highest KDA, second fewest deaths, fourth highest tower damage per minute, right? Fifth highest in the XPM department, fourth highest courier kills, and the longest duration of a kill streak in the entire tournament. What the hell is going on? This guy just seems unstoppable right now.
Well, second place is the first loser, as they say, but he doesn't have any first place stats there. But no, that's very impressive all across the board there to have those type of stats. Monet's always been incredibly stable. He does usually like farming a lot and playing those hard carries, but it sounds like he's getting a lot more active to maybe compensate for Summel sometimes being not the most active mid laner. And it kind of shows like how this team is playing right now, especially with the addition of Kaka. This guy loves to go and find kills. Everything for Team Aster right now is really coming together, and it makes every individual performance just look better.
Because you've been watching Kaka and Team Aster in general for a long time, this is definitely the strongest iteration we've seen of them since TI, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much, because they did struggle, especially at the start of the DPC season. XWI seems like things were not clicking, and with the addition of Sumail, it's been, you know, they've been looking, that they've been looking for a really good mid laner, and seems like things really clicked with Sumail because they know how to play around him. They know how to utilize Sumail because they're using his advantages, some of his like strengths to great advantage. And I think like the unsung hero of this whole squad is Pichu. He's been on point. Like, he's so stable at the laning. They're also one of the better teams overall at Riyadh Masters at the dewarding and also placing down just vision game. You know that it's going to be hard. Same goes for Team Spirit, because both of these teams are really up there when it comes down to dewarding and keeping their wards on the map.
I mean, PQ is actually first in the entire tournament in terms of dewarding stats here at BSJ. Talk to us. You're a carry player, right? How much easier does it make it when your support is that good at denying the enemy vision and ensuring that you can see everything on the map?
While I may not be as excited about that particular stat, the vision game is huge. Whether or not I'm on the map and I'm feeling safe to farm an X camp, a lot of times Dota's a lot about process of elimination. If you do see them, that tells you where else you can be, especially on the map right now. In the old map, if you didn't see anybody, you could basically assume they're either here or here. But now there's so many different spots that they could be that not seeing them for X amount of time basically means you're getting almost guaranteed to be ganked, which means you have to stop farming. And as a carry player, telling me not to go for that last jungle camp, don't even try.
Well, we're going to be seeing whether or not they'll have the fortitude and the presence of mind to avoid the very dangerous camp. You know that one last hit that gets you killed? Monet never does that. Of course, to find out more about how Team Aster feel about this upcoming matchup, we have Jenkins on the sidelines to give us the lowdown.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this interview with Mad, the coach of Team Aster. Also, Will Wreck While Whistling alumni. NA Dota fans will get that. First question. Of course, how are you guys feeling about this upcoming match?
I feel so excited and I really enjoy this vibe.
Okay, and we did this interview before, so I'm gonna ask you again, are there any surprise picks when it comes to the offlane meepos and stuff like that you've seen in this tournament so far?
I can't come up with that much. I think offlane meepo is not scary. Like everyone picks offlane meepo against us is a auto lose. So yeah, no cheese picks.
What do you think is better right now? First pick or second pick?
I mean, second pick. I feel second pick is better because it's always easy to draft. First pick, you need to show, like, to me, first pick is like you need to attack. You need to like pressure them with your first two picks. Then it's easier.
If you did a gentleman's ban with Team Spirit, like you're just like, okay, no Timbersaw. Number one, what hero would it be? And number two, would you believe them that they wouldn't pick it?
Could I say it right now?
That's probably good not to say it actually, but would you believe them if they did it? If they said they were going to gentleman's ban Timbersaw or something like that, would you believe that they banned it?
Maybe, but they started to play Timbersaw recently. They used to not play as heroes, so I don't know.
Okay, great answer to a very specific question. I'm sorry about that. Great to talk to you. Free match. Good luck, my friend. And back to you on the panel, Shiver.
Thank you very much, Jenkins and Mad. I feel like the rise of Team Aster in these last couple of months has also coincided with the rise of Mad as a coach, right? Everybody knows Team Aster being coached by Lanem, then being coached by ROTK. Both of them, as they were shoved to the wayside, the team made a unanimous decision. Don't bring in another ex-pro, don't bring in another big guy. Mad is the way to go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea whatsoever, having someone to do more analytical work for them, because they probably have a lot of voices on the team, but having someone that can dive into the replays and do all the stuff that, let's be honest, a lot of players don't want to do, having someone to do that for you is really beneficial. Yeah,
probably helps a lot of cost that he also does the translation for Sumail as well, you know, ensuring that there's no language barrier between himself and the rest of the team. Right now, as we are about to get into the game, Team Aster and Team Spirit, both of them looking for their first upper bracket win in 2023. Let's find out which one of them it takes to get that W as we bring the teams onto the stage.
There's been a lot of hours of Dota played today, but we're only at the halfway point as we're continuing playoffs of the upper bracket here at Riyadh Masters.
المتعة وصلت إلى حدها أعزائي المشاهدين. الآن راح نبدأ الجيم الثالث في البلاي أوفس بس 3 نكمل فيها مصيرة كل الفرق اللي موجودة معنا. زي الحين زي ما تشوفون النتائج ما حد يقدر يتوقعها بعد ما تيم ليكويد فاز على جيم جلاديترز.
And for here, we got Eastern Europe going up against China right now. And these two teams actually have a little bit of history on the main stage because it was Aster that eliminated Team Spirit out of the Berlin Major back in May.
اللي ما يتذكر على طول نذكركم على السريع في البرلين ميجر تواجهوا أستر وسبيريت ضد بعض. سبيريت هو اللي فاز عليهم وقدروا لا أستر هو اللي فاز عليهم، لكن الشيء الحلو في الموضوع إنه كل مرة يتواجهون فيها دائما تكون 50-50 أو دائما تكون السيريز متعادلة. حتى يوم تواجهوا مع بعض في البالي ميجر برضه كانت 1-1، ما حد كان يدري مين بيكون الفائز، لكن المرة هذه بيكون عندنا فرصة أننا نشهدهم في best of 3 معنا في البلاي أوفس.
There's also a contrast in the amount of representation that both these regions have in the upper bracket. Eastern Europe has got 3 teams. We're bringing one out now, but 2 are going to show up a little bit later. And China, they only have Aster in the upper bracket for right now.
بالضبط زي ما تشوفون الجيم هذا مو بس في تاريخ كثير، مو بس في اشياء كثيره اون ستيك، يعني حتى خسارتهم معناته بينزلون لور براكت، واللور براكت حاليا جدا جدا صعب التعامل معاه. فكل حالتين فريق الصين اللي يعتبر الافضل حاليا، كلنا نعرف مين اللاعبين اللي معاهم، وايضا بيكون عندنا الفريق الثاني اللي يعتبر من الافضل الفرق في شرق اوروبا. المباراه بتكون جدا حماسيه.
So if you're a fan of Eastern European Dota, next few hours are going to be very, very entertaining for you. So let's get it started. Team Spirit! Spirit has quietly been doing work in this tournament. I hear all this middle of the pack, this average performance that. They scooped up a second place finish in their group without anyone even noticing, it seems.
ما حد لاحظ ايش الاداء اللي قدمه تيم سبيريت معنا في البطوله الا ويوم وصلنا في نهايه الجروب ستيج. في البدايه كانوا دائما في منتصف النتائج، لكن في النهايه قدروا انهم يكونوا من اوائل التيم اللي يتاهلون في جروبهم. تيم سبيريت جاي عشان يفوز البطوله، لكن خصمه زي ما قلنا خصم ابدا مو بسهل. كلنا نعرف مين اللاعبين اللي موجودين معهم، خصوصا 2 منهم يعتبرون من افضل اللاعبين المتواجدين في انحاء العالم. خلونا نرحب فيهم. Aster. الفريق الوحيد اللي من الصين متواجد الآن في الأبر براكت الأفضل في مكانهم حاليا. من مجرد ما احنا شفنا سميل يدخل مع الروستر أدائهم تغير بشكل جذري. حتى كاكا بعد تواجده في مبارياتهم الأخيرة في المياجر الأخيرة اللي شاركوا فيها أدائهم صار جدا 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 عظيم. لكن دائما يتكلمون عن مشاكل الكوميونيكيشن اللي موجودة عندهم، لكن حلوها وشفنا وش اللي ممكن يقدمونه من ناحية الأداء.
Now, I say it's Chinese representation in this upper bracket. There's a little bit of North America there as well. Although now it's kind of tough to say. Sumail has been very, very quickly adopted by these Chinese fans. Seems like they're one of his own.
Exactly. So زي ما انتم عارفين يوم كنا نسوي مقابلة مع سميل في المسرح كان قاعد يقول انه وصلنا لمرحلة انه الكل جالس يتكلم ونص الكلام انا ما افهمه اصلا لانه عندنا مشاكل بالكوميونيكيشن، بس لسبب من الاسباب احنا دائما على نفس الصفحة وحنا دائما نقدر اننا نتفاهم بافضل صورة ممكنة.
Wow, they're very eager, Fancy.
They just went for the
They just went for it. All right, well, our services are no longer needed, it seems. So let's go back to the panel for game number 1.
على طول نروح لسيد التحليل أعزائنا المشاهدين. اللاعبين متحمسين مرة راحة ولا انتظرونا نقول لهم تفضلوا، فخلونا نشوف وش ممكن يصير في هذا الجيم.
Thank you very much, Tsunami and Fancy. And indeed, we are about to get into this incredible matchup here. And Lacoste, earlier on, you were speaking about the importance of warding, how good pick you is at it, but Miposhka also really, really good at it. So are there any heroes that stand out to you that might be able to assist both teams in ensuring they have the maximal vision on the map?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Team Spirit, they have been using some of these vision heroes from the offlane. You'll have Beastmaster, you'll have maybe like a Lycan as well. We've seen, like, I think there's been a good round of Snapfire plus Lycan or Snapfire Visage, like all of these heroes. Snapfire, one of the most contested heroes throughout the tournament because you can TP, like one of the few heroes that does get early boots of travel after getting Road of Athos, and then you have like global presence. You can TP to a wolf, TP to a bird, any kind of a summon. So that's going to be another option for Team Spirit to look into.
Yep, that feels like that's going to be definitely the hero of this particular matchup. Both Law as well as Sumail have done incredible things on Snapfire here, and I'm anticipating that that has to be banned, right? If you don't have first pick, you surely have to ban Snapfire here.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think this is going to be a series where it needs to go. Because like if you look at Aster, they have 3 favorite hero pools, pairs, sorry. One of them is Faceless Void with a Snapfire, Tidehunter with a Snapfire, Clocker with a Snapfire, almost all those close to 100% win rate. So you don't want to give Aster specifically this hero, but this hero's just been a menace for the entire tournament. Just goes mid lane, owns in the early game, wins its lane, scales through the mid game, then come late game, all of a sudden you're a right-click carry. There's nothing to not like about this hero right now.
Yep, another hero that we know that is not only close to 100% BSJ, it actually is 100% for teamaster, the Kaka Lion, a genuine classic, 7-0 at this tournament right now.
Yeah, I love Lion as a concept. Not as a carry player, but when I watch it, like it just offers so much to the draft and just makes it so that you have a lot more versatility with what you can do with your offlaner. Your offlaner can be a utility guy, it can be a team fight guy, it can be a summons guy. It just doesn't really matter in regards to, you can focus more on your lane matchup and more about like what items your team may need.
Well, we're going to be finding out exactly the priority Lion has in this game as we are getting into it. Teamaster versus Team Spirit, game 1. Of course, Io removed by Team Spirit. They have Radiant first pick. They take out the Io and the Storm Spirit. Sumail's not going to play that hero. And Teamaster removing the Timbersaw. So now the decision comes here, Lacoste. Snapfire, do you ban this out? Do you decide to leave it in? Do we maybe leave in the Clockwork, which has been very good for Team Spirit? Okay, thank God. No Snap.
I think that's what needed to be done, because Snapfire, like even in some of these matchups that she was supposed to lose on paper, the hero tends to do well, especially with the right hands. I was watching Nisha multiple times play the hero, and it's just insanely good, like what you can do with it. So now Team Spirit, they have a couple of options left. Most of the time they've been opening up with Larl's hero in the first phase. He does not get priority when it comes down to just like that's one of the options, because most of the time it's Collapse last pick, and sometimes it is Miposhka. So one of the few teams that also leave the last pick open for their position 5.
That is a very, very bold play,
yes.
Especially because you're going against the king of the mid lane, Sumail. He is not afraid to punish you in any way, shape, or form. If you pick a first pick Ember Spirit, And the carry Ember has not really been very popular in this patch, a little too weak in the laning stage, not very survivable. So I do expect Sumail to be looking at this and being like, all right, the world is my oyster. I can pick whatever I want to punish this right now. Maybe they'll save it for a next pick if they want to go down the Huskar route, but maybe he'll bring out his Shadow Fiend or something like this that can really punish an Ember in the laning stage.
There's so many heroes left in the pool that can punish this hero. Like the position 4 that I'm mostly looking into is Skywrath Mage. I feel like you are forcing, especially if Ember Spirit, like if you pick something that is good in the lane against him, and then you also pick Skywrath Mage, so you're like kind of forcing him. Never mind, it's just gonna be Lion. Like we're hearing grafting, but in the end, you know, we tried.
Yes, yeah, you've always been a fan, and I think you feel strongly about them picking Sumail's hero in the first phase whenever possible. So if you're in their shoes right now, what hero would you be picking for him to counter the lane and to function well with the Lion?
I mean, to be honest, I would leave the Ember B for now in this one particular case, because a second pick, you still have 2 picks later on in the draft to counter lanes. So if you want to pick your off-lane duo, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't think Team Spirit has any flex potential with this Ember Spirit, so you're going to see it for the rest of the draft. There's no new information that's going to be coming out. And there's also, if you're going to pick a hero that purely lane counters Ember, you also want it to have a good game. And since you have so many options, as the rest of our panel was talking about here, why force it now? So I like that they went for the Broodmother.
So this would be a perfect time here, I feel, for an Undying, even though they haven't necessarily played it all that often. They haven't played it at all in the tournament, actually, for the side of Team Spirit. But we've also seen that hero just do amazing wonders, and it kind of feels like they do need some kind of save to ensure that LoL doesn't die in these teamfights.
They could do that, but one of the heroes that is a save that they prioritize a bit more is the Silencer. That's something that Naposhka really likes to go for. And if you're playing Lion, you know, you blink in, you Hex, pop the global, you're not getting that perfect chain stun. Maybe it could help them get out. It's not going to help you a lot in the laning stage against the Broodmother, so they have a difficult choice to make. Do we want a hero that is best for us, or do we want to pick something to maybe scare away this Broodmother? There's also Disruptor, I do like a lot against Broodmother. Was popular for some time. Being able to see him through the trees, glimpse him back, and get kills.
Yeah, just any vision hero, I'm down for it. Or like Spirit Breaker, Clockwork, what you just mentioned. I like Clockwork a lot because of Lion as well, if you manage, because this is Kaka. It's all about blink stun pretty much. That's going to be his first item on Lion, so if you can stop him from doing that, I think you're in a really good spot. But when it comes down to lanes, Lion plus Broodmother, this is a strong lane. Broodmother needs some kind of a setup, something that can stop the aggression from going on to her, especially at the early level, so I don't mind it too much. That's an interesting one. There was a game when they played against another Chinese team, like Extreme Gaming, and it was last pick Ancient Apparition. It was also against the Broodmother, against Doom and Lycan, some of these heroes who have like a lot of built-in region, but most specifically Broodmother. Her insatiable hunger is very difficult to deal with.
I believe they're the only team that have played AA, and they are 1-1 with it at this tournament so far. Now that it's out here, I guess we have to ban Faceless Void for Aster?
Absolutely. You have to ban the stunning carries. So you look at Faceless Void, you're looking at Sven that they've picked twice, you're looking at potentially something like Wraith King or CK, but these are mostly like maybe not good enough heroes to ban, but they're on your radar because that's what you want to pick with AA. As a support who's off meta, he's not going to win the lane for you. You have to enable him to have some sort of impact in the lane. That's why this hero is traditionally not picked very much right now. A lot of the Undyings of the sort are there to secure your lane for you. Naga would have been a good example as well. I like the Lion pick because it also dissuades all these illusion carries that are good against Brood, and a lot of these carries do get picked on 8, and that's probably why, now that we look at it, that they chose Lion over something else like a Sky.
Yeah, for sure, and it's going to be very interesting because the illusion carries are going to be pretty good for, not for Spirit, but yeah, for Aster as well, because AA doesn't like playing with those. There's a lot of carries that can bully, and traditionally I would say as well, Brood bullies AA for the most part. There is that one specific interaction though where if you get the Ice Blast on top of them, Insatiable Hunger will no longer lifesteal. Is that a good enough reason to pick AA against Brood? Really hard to say. As BSJ was mentioning, a lot of heroes like Undying, for example, they give you the ability to play any carry you want to. But AA does the opposite. It shrinks the amount of heroes that you can play. And that's normally not a good feeling as a carry player.
I don't mind it too much. I think it's a very bold opening from Team Spirit. Like usually you're not going to see like Nether Ember. Specific teams do play it, but Ancient Apparition, he's just not out there for a good reason.
10 seconds remaining.
But we've also seen Broodmothers being like the real carriers ever since she became Universal Hero, especially like the way some of these like Game Gladiators, the way they play. Ace, he is the true carry of the team, and sometimes he plays Broodmother. We've seen it earlier today, so not too surprised that they try to find an option how to punish Broodmother.
I like these bans from Team Spirit. It's interesting, you're protecting a Ancient Apparition, clearly. Usually it's a core in that slot, but Medusa doesn't lose HP until she's literally dead already, so AA has no impact there. Terrorblade Sunder, one of the few abilities in Dota that's considered health swap, not heal, so you can gain health through it. And I'm curious what they go for Void themselves.
Time Walk ban, okay, that makes sense, right?
Time Walk doesn't technically work on AA, but it's really hard to hit Void with it.
Yeah, just like keep avoiding him.
Yeah, exactly. Any mobile jump around guys are usually pretty good against AA.
Does that mean that Aster's gonna be trying to angle towards some Slark or something maybe?
Slark specifically is tough because he doesn't burst supports like heroes like Void do, because, you know, if Void jumps you, you're getting chronoed and dead. As Slark, you're pushing your ulti and the AA can actually hit you with everything, so it's not nearly as good as the others. Also, Slark relies on his ulti to heal. So, in this... Lycan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lycan's good. I'd be liking that.
We can just bring out some, good one. We can bring out some, just the universal party. Bring out a bunch of Mantas and hasted heroes. AA really hates playing against that. He has no mobility. You just throw some summons, some Mantas on him. He's going to be forced to throw his ult somewhere. He can't really defend himself from that. And it's the reason why this hero isn't picked very much. I am super interested to see what direction they're going with this AA, because it's such an off-meta pick. Especially in the first phase.
If they pick Lycan here, they'd open themselves up to the Sven, so I imagine they would wait till...
Yeah, take your time.
You'll need some kind of a setup, I think, for this Ancient Apparition. Like, in the lane and for the game, Searing Chains is okay. It's not the best one, considering you're playing into Broodmother. She builds into Manta style as well, so some kind of a stunner, some kind of a low cooldown initiator. I'm just having Axe in my mind because, you know, it's a collapse Axe, great against the Broodmother, Blade Mail Buyer, but they can also go for a different route. I think any Zoo heroes here are good, especially against Lion Rubik. You pretty similar to what Fear was talking about the Ancient Apparition, where you don't have a way of defending yourself. Sure, there's a stun, lift, but are these the targets you want to go for?
Yeah, you could even do like a Beastmaster Sven type lineup. I would like that a lot right now too. Just, I only saying Sven because it works so well with AA, and Team Spirit has picked it twice.
And it's Yatoro, so.
Yeah.
He's played Monkey King as well, and we saw Liquid play it in the previous series. That hero
Monkey King would be fine. Has stun.
Has a stun, good versus Brood. I could see the appeal for that. Choices theirs, really.
Let's see what they go for here. Teamaster, we've been seeing more and more these 5-position Rubik throughout the tournament, not necessarily being prioritized as a 4, so makes sense. Also, it secures their lane. No matter what they do, right, they're going to have strong lanes on the side of Teamaster. That's always good to see.
Is there clockwork in the game?
There still is, yeah.
That could be, so they're just going to be Yatoro overall last pick, even though he most likely sees his name. We can flex the Brood, let's not forget about that, but when I see Aster, I really do not see Monet playing that hero too much, but it is a possibility.
I think they're going to take Yatoro's hero here, to be honest.
Think so?
Yeah, I think, like, I said Beastmaster Sven because even if you're going to pick a hero like Sven, he's not going to see his carry-to-carry matchup. You want to buff him up. Otherwise, he's just not going to carry you. That's why I suggested the Beastmaster. But okay, I'll put my foot in my mouth real quick as they go for the Coddle. That's basically enabling the Beast, I would say, because that's going to chakra him in lane, and then you can chakra the Ember later. You're going to stack all the camps. I think that's got to be on Aster's radar. They don't really have good supports for invading. They don't have an Undying. They don't have an Enchantress. Some hero that just walks into your triangle, scouts it out, maybe plops down a Sentry or soaks the XP. So I think they should have a pretty reliable game plan unless Aster goes for a carry that can shut that down.
Okay,
is that one of them?
Yeah, not revealing anything yet. You know,
yeah, that hero doesn't really care about Ancient Apparition, right? The traps are super annoying to play against. If you do get found as A, you die in a couple hits. The only concern I have right now for Team Spirit right now is you have these two supports who are really enabled by your cores. And you're picking two cores that don't see their lane matchup. So they might potentially have a bad laning stage, and if you have two supports that need to be enabled by cores and those two cores aren't having good lane, you're not setting yourself up for success in that regard here. So we'll have to see how they can pull these lanes off. Of course, Beastmaster, Coddle, very hard to lose that lane as you just like continuously spam over and over again. Bit worried for not only the AA +1 lane, but the Ember mid.
Would you prefer to see the TA mid or off lane? Or sorry, safe lane?
Both are fine, I think, but I'm probably mid. I think giving Sumel TA mid against Ember, super comfort. He's probably going to win that matchup with early points and Meld Strike, but I don't think it would be too bad as well against the Coddle because you can kind of deal with Axe spam with Refraction.
Because there's Templar Assassin in the game, you can still go for something greedier, I would say, because she does provide you with tower damage building into Deso, so I'm down for some Wind Ranger, you know, against Ancient Apparition, Coddle. They're already going to struggle against Templar Assassin, against Broodmother. These, like, because they don't have any kind of ways of escaping. Sure, you can build into items, but there's Blinding Light. But all I see is these two heroes getting two-shotted by Templar Assassin right now.
I also see them having very big difficulties dealing with Refraction at this moment in time, so I want to see something more from Team Spirit in that regard. What intrigues me greatly as well is that this is the first game that Team Aster have deployed the Templar Assassin in, so clearly they've been looking at the other games, preparing some strats, and have something ready for Team Spirit here.
Is this just straight disrespect if they don't ban Sven? Like, not necessarily the Yatoro, just the hero as a whole. Because I also think these bans are protecting Sven. I hate playing Sven into Puck. I also hate playing it into Bloodseeker. So
I will say, though, as a Sven player, TA is one of my most hated matchups to play into.
Even with the Warcry?
But it's like a debate. Like, it's not about the Warcry, it's not about the minus armor, it's about the refraction. And eventually, at some point in this game, you have so many refraction charges that Sven can never get through them.
Okay.
And then you have to buy like some Manta on Sven, which just feels terrible. So,
that sounds
like,
hype.
Yeah, this is like a matchup where the later it goes, it just gets on. How do you get through like 13 refractions as a Sven? You just don't.
Okay, so which heroes do stand out to you that can get through it? Because they still are lacking that particular tech right now.
5 seconds
Slark control.
Slarks looks really good.
Yeah, they just banned those. That's why I was.
Control looked fine. I mean, CK is kind of a dead hero, but that could work here. It's pretty good versus most heroes. This line can't really destroy those illusions specifically.
Oh, yeah, baby. I believe this is the first one that we've seen in the tournament. I think it's been banned once, but I don't think we've seen a Bristleback pick just yet. This feels good. I love to see it. New hero coming in from Team Spirit. Obviously going to be the Yatoro hero. Does it inspire confidence in you, Lacoste, when you see this hero come out on the 23?
I was talking to Fear like yesterday or a day ago that this hero, you know, if it's a good game for it, I could see it happening. Like, what are these heroes going to do to Bristleback? Like, he's going to hit the big timing, and look at the, like, you have one of the better heroes in the game to stack with, especially the triangle, and Bristle is going to clear that. So,
yeah.
In terms of, like, timing that they're going to go for, oh, hello, Fear.
Hello.
And,
nice to see you.
yeah, so Helm of the Overlord plus Bristleback, 1-2 item on Ember Spirit. This seems like a really strong lineup, and now they need to figure out like what counters Bristle. Viper has not been picked a single time throughout this tournament. If they want to shift things around, is OD an option?
Yeah, it definitely is, but I was thinking might be crazy. All right, never mind. I was going to say Legion, but Clinks.
Is that a mid or an off? Okay, it's a safe lane, Clinks.
Safe lane, yeah.
Against the Beastmaster, makes sense. They're not really worrying about the Bristleback too much, and they probably shouldn't. Right? This hero isn't very popular for many, many reasons. One of them being just the fact that he doesn't really outskill most heroes. Kind of feels like he's on a timer in a lot of cases, and when you're playing versus a tri-core lineup, I would definitely agree with that. But they don't have a reliable way to like turn the Bristleback around and face him to you, so you have that going for you, but you potentially do have 2 Silver Edge carriers in the Broodmother and the TA.
Yeah, I was never a big fan when like 2 of your cores, 1 and 2, are dealing physical damage, and now you have 3 of them. This is Broodmother, so it's very easy to itemize in this game. I think going for items like early items like Solar Crest on your supports, Pavis as well. Maybe you get some kind of a Crimson Guard as well, AC later on, so it feels very easy to itemize against the physical damage. I don't know. I'm feeling this Bristleback. I think I'm going to go with him.
BSJ, I spam this Bristleback hero quite a lot, and I look at this draft, and what I see that there's no one to really help me outside of Primal Roll to lock heroes down long enough that I can kill them. I see 3 fairly mobile cores on the enemy side of the map. How do they deal with this? What does Team Spirit need to do to enable Yatoro to play this game well?
They need to basically snowball the first Roshan to the second Roshan to just walking down a lane. Because right now, I don't see much recovery potential from this lineup at all on the side of Team Spirit, and I think what the point of the Clinks pick is to assassinate your supports in the back. They didn't really have a way to reliably jump them. TA didn't want to do that. She just wants to be hitting the Bristle. Brood wants to come in from the front as well. So I think the overall game plan for Aster seems more straightforward, and I like it. But if Team Spirit gets off to a slightly early lead, those objectives will fall, and they will fall fast.
Make a call, Spirit?
Oh, I'm still going for Aster.
All right, Aster, Fear, your final read on the game before we get into it?
I'm definitely looking at their lineups as well and being like, they can't really punish Sumail in this game. The Broodmother is going to be a problem. Yatoro is going to have to stay there most of the time. The supports don't really rotate too well, and I think if you have a bad game on Laurel here, things are going to get pretty weird. They're going to delay the game, and it's going to be very hard for Team Spirit to win this game past the 30-plus minute matchup, Mark, I think, if the game is even.
Well, when they asked us to pick heroes that they wanted to create for us in terms of the talent announcement, I picked Bristleback, but I don't believe in this hero anymore. So I think Team Aster will probably have an easier road of it. However, Team Spirit have knocked them out of the upper bracket before. So let's find out if they will be able to do so again. As we send it to our casters, we have Sunsfan, we have Kezu, we've got some Dota 2. Bring us the hype, gentlemen.
Oh my goodness, we got some juicy heroes today. Sunsfan here with Kezu. We have a Bristle, we have an AA, we have a Clinksy. What do you think about all this?
We've got a lot of different stuff. We also have an AA who we don't see too often.
I did say AA.
You
Thank
did.
you for listening, Cinder.
Didn't hear that. Yeah, I'm just cosplaying our little replacement here. As I'm a fan of AA. I feel like also into Brood, you make it harder for Brood to be a carry. So Aster gonna play it offlane with a Klings carry into the Beastmaster, which traditionally has been very good. You can eat the boar, but it's a Beast Coddle lane. I feel like they can spam you, and that should be pretty annoying.
That's right. And then when you get to the mid game, you have Chakra with the Quill Sprays. Like, there's a lot of synergy here. The AA kind of random, I won't lie, but we'll see how it works out for Spirit. They always pick some interesting stuff.
What did he stun there with Lion?
It's a good question. Just making sure that works.
Mapochka tips him, doesn't he? Like, kind of give away, we saw that you did it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the play.
Maybe.
Truly.
They dewarded the wrong side, though. Easy game for Mapochka.
Truly genius. As we're going to get started here in this upper bracket best of 3 matchup. And coming into this, did you have a favorite? Like before the drafts? Like, are either of these teams, like they had similar records, but they had, like the groups were very different.
Yeah. So far in this tournament, Spirit have been the China Slayers. They won
true.
2-0 versus LGD, 2-0 versus Extreme, but is Aster really a full Chinese team? I don't think they are. They've got the man, the myth, the legend, Sumail in mid, as Larl's getting himself a little free D-ward. Easy gold, easy XP.
Yep, that's pretty big. Of course, Sumail will eventually get the other one, I'm sure, but this matchup here, Laurel versus Sumail, I think Laurel has gotten a lot of flack, I want to say, throughout the last few months. Maybe not playing to the potential that people think he could. Playing against one of the best mids of all time, of course. Like, what does this matchup look like, the Ember versus TA? Because you do have the refraction breaking. Yeah,
it's a very skill-heavy matchup, but it is TA favored. As Lars so far is doing a pretty good job. He had some good trades. Of course, he hit level 2 before with the Observer Ward that he got to kill. He can look to dodge some of the hits, which we did just see. So overall, I think Lars is off to a good start. As most Dota teams right now, you try to play through your mid hero, and with Ember, Coddle, AA supports. If you can help Laurel have a good game and then transition into the mid game, Spirit, you know, they might just have a very good early game.
Okay, and I agree with, I believe it was Lacoste talking about the fact that Aster, their 3 cores are kind of right-clicky in nature. Do you think that this is potentially a game that we see XXS go for an Aura Broodmother, which we haven't really seen recently?
I don't know, Auras aren't like particularly that good, I think, against Bristleback. Like, he doesn't care too much. I mean, maybe, I guess you can go pipe and you're good against everything else, as Mapochka.
Yep, he's in a lot of trouble because he's playing Ancient Apparition. Kaka gets the first blood on his patented Lion. So Aster already off to a good start. Okay, talk to me about Bristle. We're going to probably talk about this for 10 minutes. Okay. Brace yourselves. Why is this hero considered not good, aka this is being the first pick in the tournament?
I do think that Bristle has a lot of like counterplay. Like, he can get kited if you have lockdowns where, you know, you make him face you, and I think there's a lot of item counters as well with like overall minus armor, which honestly Aster do have. I think Klings can be annoying. You have TA, of course, with the meld, with the Deso. I think you just like to have a lot better carries, as Lamb's just taking a bit of a beating. Like most other carries, I think they just have better matchups. They farm faster in the jungle as well, and Bristle's just a very timing-heavy carry, so you need to execute.
I assume it's going to be the Aghanim Scepter type build, and I feel like that's the last time I saw Bristle being played a decent amount, as that was essentially the power spike for him.
I mean, there could be something like you go Vanguard into SNY AC, or maybe he wants like a Halberd against these couple range heroes. I haven't seen too much Bristle lately. I think the Ags is still very good, but overall what they're going to have to look through is to play fast with your cores. You have Beastmaster who's going to buff him up as well. You get all the stacks on your Toro, and he can kind of go rampant because Aster lineup, they do have some overlap with the cores, right? 3 single target physical cores, so if you can get, I don't know, Crimson Guard, Bucklers, and all that stuff going on. As right now, I'm just looking at Laurel. This guy is doing very well in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's got a 7 CS advantage already. I mean, that ward actually did make quite a bit of difference. Definitely cannot underestimate that. And then lastly, let's talk about AA, because this is also a hero that just is never picked. And I mean, back when it was kind of picked, it's, you know, a hard counter to like the Alchemist types or whoever the case may be. Or it's, I mean, the big reason that it's not picked is because it can be confused in lanes. But if you get like some wombo combo with the Ice Blast lane, they don't have any of that though. Like this is a kind of a strange line to have AA on paper.
I mean, they're very good at playing this hero, and I think there's a lot of small things that this hero does that is overlooked. I think actually AA, Bristle, Caudle in the mid game is really annoying to play into. There's like all these ice vortexes on the ground. You know, you have like all this knots coming out from your bristleback, so it's very annoying to play into. And they do have chains and roar to kind of play around, so on Aster it's going to be heavy on them, like some force stats maybe you can save with Rubik. As Yatoro, this is another reason why they ended up picking this bristleback. It is so annoying for Brood, at least early on, to play into.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. He's diving the tower now, keeping it at bay, so XXS can only leech the XP at the current moment in time. And Yatoro about to finish his Vanguard here, so a 4.5-minute Vanguard, not too shabby. Yeah, and we'll see what kind of build he ends up going here in the next few minutes.
Probably, I would say this bristleback is untouchable until like way later in the game. Unless they bring 3-4 heroes, he's not really going to die to anyone. As TA, you don't want to move. Your Klings carry, you're not going to want to move from your lane either, so I would say this already helps. Like Team Spirit as a whole, maybe Maposha can start moving mid, which he's already kind of angling for. They're stacking their triangle as well with the Beast, which is another synergy between Beast, Bristle. Maybe he takes it himself, but also the Aura. Just overall very good.
Maposha going for some D-ward action as Yatoro left to his own. I mean, that's the other thing about a lot of these position ones we've been seeing are kind of fragile early on, where Bristle, you can just leave him alone. He can get that solo XP. Collapse, getting triple teamed. Mira is here. The blinding light completely misses, it looks like, and Collapse will likely fall as a result. But Kaka, you can see the rotation coming from Maposhka. They're going to lose Collapse, and that looks like that'll be the end of the fight.
Blinding light was a little off the mark. I think it only hits Kaka's Lion, maybe, as I'm pretty sure Aster are 7-0 when Kaka is playing Lion, so you know, he's kind of putting it to good use. They got the first one bottom, he moves top, makes it look easy. Now they both go into mid because they know this first rune for Laurel is incredibly important, who's already having a very good start in this game.
Indeed. 5 seconds away. Searing Shades is there onto Sumail. Kaka showing with the Hex. Can they actually turn this around on a kill? Nope, the Remnants are still up for Laurel, being that level 6 now. And you can see Maposhka has to snag the DD himself. Effectively denies it from Sumail.
Nope, still a good move from Aster, making sure Ember does not get it, as Kaka didn't quite get the stun up, but that's okay. As with some different skill builds, Brood can be annoying to Yatoro, as we do see with the 3-1-1 build. I think XXS definitely understanding the situation. You know, you don't just play around with maxing your web. Every time he has Q, he can trade into Yatoro. As Kaka's also around, and they have a new Insatiable Hunger in a couple seconds.
Yeah, Kaka with the Impale. Doing a good job of keeping his back to them, but XXS doing so much damage with the Insatiable Hunger, but Yatoro will end up living. I believe that was a Lotus being consumed as well. Now has a Soul Ring, and it will be the Phase Boots into the Agnum Scepter, so basically first big item as the Ags.
I mean, even though you don't kill Yatoro here, putting him on low HP is actually very annoying, because what you want from this matchup is your Bristle to push the lane forward. And honestly, I kind of misread that situation a little bit. I think XXS with this item build of the Treads Rush, Bracer, into the max Q, he's the one applying pressure in this lane, not the other way around.
And you can see the net worth basically even between Yatoro and XXS, so like you said, Aster probably pretty happy with the state of affairs here, with that 1K lead right now. Of course, First Blood does have a lot to do with that. And one of the heroes we haven't really talked about is the Klings. Monet, we've watched him, I don't know if we've done it this tournament, but I've cast in the past a couple games of him on this Klings, and it's pretty dirty. Going for likely the Deso, and it looks like it will be that.
I wonder if they're gonna go, are they gonna go double Deso as hold that? Yatoro just taking a beating again.
Another Hex comes out, Maposhka's there with the Ice Vortex, and Fade Bolt from the Rubik coming from the south side, but won't turn it to any actual kills.
It's okay, just even more pressure on Yatoro, just making sure he has to kind of think about what he's doing. So Monet's gonna queue up the Deso. Gonna of course be very good. He'll have a very good timing on that. I just wonder if is Sumail also gonna go it? Are they gonna do more of the SCA build where you go some Dragonlance, Chrysalis, Blink Dagger on the TA? Maybe that allows him to be more active early on in the game. I'm not sure.
And I assume Sumail is the hero that will be buying the eventual Silver Edge, as they're going to try to get this kill, and they finally will. Yatoro outnumbered. It's because they left 3 here from Aster's side.
Oh, this is a big deal for Aster with what they're doing at the moment in this early game. Like, Collapse up top, he's not getting to pressure Monet. He's just chilling on his own, whereas his 2 supports, they just move. They do have very nice stacks in the triangle, but until these supports have ults on Spirit, I don't think they have any playability on the map, actually. Like, legit 0.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to lose this tower. Although, Yatoro wants to try to contest. About half HP right now for this tier 1.
Yeah, he definitely has to go here and hold this once more. If Aster want to pressure him, at least they need to bring like 3-4 heroes. And he is level 7 now with max out Cool Spray as over and mid.
Sumail getting pushed out. Nice damage onto this tier 1 as well. Pichu is here though. Gets off the lift into the Impale from Kaka, which will eventually lead to the kill onto the AA.
The XP a little bit struggling for Spirit at the moment. Sure, you can give Mirror the top lane now, as Collapse can maybe do some stuff in the triangle, but the most important level 6 for them is going to be Miposhka, who I believe he's not even level 5 yet, so they're going to have to help him get a lane as Lara's queuing up a Radiance. I don't know how much I like that idea, because it's going to have like a very slow build-up, and I think your lineup is the one that's supposed to try and push forward, even if you're maybe a little bit behind, which obviously they are in this game.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And I mean, maybe it's supposed to line up with the Aghanim Scepter, with this big item timing where they all 5-man, with the Helm of the Overlord eventually coming from Collapse, which I think he has the, he has the Dom now. So Vlad's into the upgraded Helm.
The Mr. Overlord, which then at least nobody can eat in the game. As for now, yeah, I mean, Aster are just very happy with the state of the game. I would say for Team Spirit, it's all about getting Miposhka to level 6 and looking for a smoke to open up the map. Like, you gotta go mid, get some chains into Ice Blast, or go top to Collapse where he gets to roar the Klings, get him killed, take the tier 1 tower, because right now Aster's net worth lead just keeps going up.
Yeah, Spirit not really showing too many signs of wanting to do anything, but that's in part because you have a Coddle AA. Like, what exactly are you doing? And I think the panel also discussed, like, when you pick AA, the old school lineups have a stun, right? The cold feet into some sort of stun. They don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So it feels like Miposhka is just not playing a hero yet. But we'll see how it comes together a little bit later on. But like I said, even from before, the Ice Blast, they don't really have the obvious setup, like the Beastmaster Roar, but there's no like huge AoE combo on top of the Ice Blast.
I do like the smoke from Aster, just going down bottom with Kaka Finger and also Sumail being around in the smoke. They have a nice ward on the high ground. I don't know if they can fully execute. Let's see. Oh yeah, it looks like they definitely will be.
Yatoro looking on. As Yatoro. Going to take a meld strike. Kaka's here as well, and he is deleted. Finger of Death being used as well. And that's more than enough to take out the position. 1 Bristle. Miposhka melts. And so far, all Aster in this game number 1.
I mean, they're just owning the way they're moving around the map, giving the right heroes the right lanes. Even Monet showing up to this fight, who's close to a Desolator at this stage in the game already. It's going to be some 12-13 minute Deso for him. And Yatoro on this Bristleback, you're supposed to be like top net worth, push it forward, but that is just not the case at all. You're below all 3 cores from Aster.
Yeah. And one thing Aster's not going to have trouble with is taking Roche, taking buildings. Not. Like, they have a very high physical damage lineup. And I would assume a Crimson needs to come out on somebody from Spirit's side.
Collapse is like kind of the best choice at doing so, I think. But with him going to Overlord, obviously he's gonna go that first. You know, maybe if this was Eternal Envy Bristleback, we could see it come out on him, but don't think we have the same mindset here on Yatoro. He's gonna be going for the, well, he's got the Axe queued up, which of course will take a long time, and the Halberd after. Don't blame him for that, but his team is gonna have to help him out in the armor department against these dire heroes for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure a Solar Crest will be coming out on somebody at some point. But obviously it's so early on, and Spirit struggling so much in this early stage that it's not going to be anytime soon. And Aster just continues to snowball right now. Despite it only being 6 kills, it just feels like they've dominated every lane effectively.
Yeah, we haven't seen much yet from Spirit. Of course, as, you know, Miposhka didn't have his levels. He does now have level 6, so there's a high chance that they're going to look to push out some waves, maybe smoke up, and because I think you need to take over one area of the map. Like, either smoke into your own jungle, kill this Brood, or go up top, kick them out, and take the top tier 1. Because if this game stays this way, in like 2-3 minutes, Aster will just freely take this Roche in the top area.
Yeah. Deso now online for Monet, and like you talked about, Sumail not opting to go for Deso himself. It will be a Blink Dagger first, so we'll see if that's I mean, they don't even have to initiate anything, I feel like. They are perfectly fine just farming and defending these lanes.
Yeah, they're kind of fine chilling until they, you know, potentially can look at a Roche. But both teams are hitting some item timings. You're about to have a double blink on Aster. You have Team Spirit, who are nearly completed with the Helm of Overlord, which is definitely what Collapse wants in this game, to kind of overtake the top area and kind of play there. So very likely that in 1 to 2 minutes time, we're going to see both teams like smoke up and try to take a fight, because Collapse's net worth, you know, he's slowly but silently getting up there.
Yeah, and that's what the stacks will do for a Beastmaster, because he did not do particularly well in lane. As Yatoro goes through the gate, is greeted by the newly picked up Desolator from Monet.
That's a lot of damage.
He's going to turn into a double piggy now, apparently. We'll be fine. Aster's still waiting on the wings.
As Laurel's going to get the haste runes snagged away from him. As yeah, okay, so he is going to go for the Radiance build, I guess, if the game does slow down this much. You know, if there's one good fight, you get that. The evasion is pretty good, and, you know, the burn stuff too. I thought he would want to play a bit different, but if he does get it in okay timing, seems good to me, but he's got to be careful. 7-0 Kaka Lion with the Blink Dagger.
Yeah, he is in the vicinity, gets off the Hex, and
see you
you
later.
Can see the burst is just unreal from Aster. And that's a second charge for that finger for Kaka. As this tier 1 tower is going to go down as well.
So just a clean mid-tier 1. And Spirit are at least smoked up top. I would say that they're okay trading the mid-tier 1 actually for this safe lane tier 1 of Aster. Simply because the next objective in this game has got to be Roche in the next couple of minutes. So opening up this top tier 1, maybe taking over the area and forcing it yourself is a very big way for Spirit to kind of get their way back into this game. As Aster are scanning it. But of course, Yatoro did TP bottom to defend that tier 2.
The scan does go off, so of course Aster only has information that somebody is standing there, and they will be attempting this Roche.
I mean,
this is going to be pretty slow without the Bristle.
Maybe it's a super fake. You show Yatoro bottom, they're like, these guys will never do it. But as you said, the scan did hit, so if a fight breaks out up here without Yatoro being there, I believe that Spirit are going to get annihilated if Aster make it there in time.
Monet showing himself, and like you said, Yatoro still sticking around in that bot lane.
Well, they just got it for free.
They will eventually get it, so a nice steal, basically, from Spirit. They get the Aegis, they TP out. The Triceratops just chilling. As Laurel does not have TP for another 36 seconds. I'm not sure if they're going to actually walk all the way
Just
back
hide it up, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, the Triceratops does drop to the deck along with the boar, so lots of pets taking a downfall here.
I mean, the fact that Spirit get to take the Aegis while being 5k down with 0 kills is honestly... Like, this is the type of play that makes losing teams be able to actually win games. Like, if you just sit back, do nothing, Aster will take this Aegis, they're going to kill all your towers, but being able to do this while keeping your Toro farming is on it. Like, this is some S-tier play.
Let's see what they're able to do with it. And they could just use it as a delay tactic, I guess, right? Because it's not like Aster's going to want to try to go high ground, even with this sort of an advantage without the Aegis. So
yeah, I think
at the very least, it'll give Yatoro some time to get that Aghanim Scepter and
like
+1.
Even with the state of the game and you being 5k down, like sometimes you just hit these item timings where you fight back. I like that Spirit are giving up this tower. I also think Aster are doing a lot of right things in this game, but with this Bristleback Aghanims and, you know, Collapse slowly working on his AC, he has a buckler now. Lawless getting his stuff done too. He's got the Sacred Relic. Like, when they get this Aghanim Scepter on Yatoro, I think even though the, you know, the network says you're 6k down, they're still very strong if they get to fight.
They have to defend at some point. As Yataro's spotted, he's going to get stunned and completely surrounded. TP's are coming. His back is to the enemy, so he will survive.
Oh, it's just too good. Bristleback turns his back and he's good.
Very good, as Pichu, this might be the first kill in the game for Spirit. And they'll take it. They'll take anything they can get.
Oh, most certainly. As you know, Yatoro just casually tanks 3 heroes in the bottom lane. Nearly going to have his Ag Scepter. You talked about the Solar Crest earlier. Would definitely love if someone will be able to get their hands on that. Not sure who will do that. As for now, I don't really see that being queued up. And I think Aster they're going to be out for vengeance. They're still up 5k gold. Sure, you have this Aegis, but you can try to ignore Laurel a little bit. Try to get on these supports and just easily kill them. Like, Klinks is so damn good at doing that.
They have a lot to worry about, that's for sure. As XXS, he has the Echo Saber now. And Kaka not actually, well, there's going to be a smoke up actually from Team Spirit as the Aghanim Scepter officially on. Like we're talking about for seemingly forever.
Not on them, bro.
He finally gets it. And that's the first power spike for this Bristle. Yeah. Let's see how much of a difference it actually makes. Or if they even feel comfortable in fighting it. I mean, they do have that Aegis still intact, and The Radiant's not quite there for Laurel. Still needs to finish it up.
Aster do make a good move here, or a good read rather, just knowing that Spirit are coming around and they want to kick them out, so they're gonna freely dodge the smoke, but it's honestly really annoying to fight into Spirit right now, even though you're ahead, because there's all this random like AoE garbage that's like on the ground, right? You're getting snotted, you're getting chained, there's these ice vortexes on the ground, there's some hogs and boars, so for Aster, I think it's still really important for them to choose their fights properly and like try to find the right target on the side.
The first Gossamer Cape picked up by Team Spirit. That's a very important item against the TA, of course, but we did mention the fact that there are 3 right-clickers on Aster, so we'll see how much difference that actually makes as well. As the Tier 1 tower looks to be uncontested, so Spirit will take that. And they're actually in an interesting position here around the 19-minute mark to maybe go for
the Tormentor.
Yeah, you know where my mind is at
Oh,
all
of
the
course
time.
I do.
Radiant's online now for Laurel. Yatoro wants to continue this push, knowing that they have, I feel like, some sort of a window with this lineup.
Get in there, Yatoro.
Actually
Who
going
cares?
really deep. Wants to get the second kill onto Pichu of the game. AA Blast is coming and will fly right off the map. So they have no idea that it happened. They actually got silenced up by Sumail, who has that shard now. But they're going to lose the Tier 2 tower. And Spirit, I mean, 20 seconds from Tormentor, Kezu.
Stick around, bros.
Yeah, maybe.
Ah, they're leaving.
Too bad.
Another Gossamer Cave. I was about to call it Gossamer. As you know, this Netref lead, it's just kind of fake. Like when you can read these item timings, and I think Aster can, they know that they're not strong enough to just straight up 5-on-5 into Spirit, because we've touched on all this random annoying stuff that's around. At least the Aegis is expiring, and Monet was able to get his hands on the BKB, which will definitely help their team fight in this game.
Yep, for sure. Collapse TPing out, so this bottom lane no longer a concern for them because they have all the outer towers.
Can he find a creep? Nope, he can't. 250 gold to XXS, he'll take that. He's got the man to complete it, but we're seeing a little bit of this Aster's lineup overlap, right? All 3 heroes. Let's hold that for a moment. Good silence.
Yeah,
another one.
Is expiring in 13 seconds, so I don't think Laurel will mind dying here, which he will.
Nope. He'll be A-okay. As these traps still being very annoying. Like you see Miposhka on top of one mirror as well. Looks like they may even want to... No, looks like they were potentially posturing for a smoke. And it looks like Miposhka realized we don't have one, so he's flying it out now.
Goes to show how fragile Laurel is, though, at the current point in time.
Even with all the evasion and the Gossamer Cape to like try and even help him through all this damage.
Oh, they want their torn. Okay. Who's going to get it? Miposhka?
Miposhka, baby. This shard is good.
All right, we're going to get the recall.
Recall is also still pretty good. Sure, you already have Ember with the map play, but this allows Yatoro to like go back and defend, because I mean, Aster's pickup is very, very scary. If you're alone and Kaka gets on you with Klink's follow-up, I think Yatoro's the only one that can stand his ground there and not die.
How do you sit like that, honestly? That looks painful. Tier 2 tower does go down as Aster gaining more map control by the minute, but like you said, this network lead maybe not feeling as bad as originally thought from Spirit's side. I mean, what's the next power spike for them? There's going to be a Halberd relatively soon on Yatoro, which, again, 3 right clickers on the other team is going to be an incredible pickup.
I would say the next, like, 5 to 10 minutes have got to be Team Spirit favored. He has the Dragon Scale as well, another great item. As hold that, Yatoro in mid.
They're going to try to go on the old Bristleback. He's got his back to him this whole time. The Finger of Death is there as well, but Yatoro will live.
Oh, BKB
Monet even
used.
popping his BKB. Mira using the Horsey to get some distance. So they lose the AA, and that's it. That's for a BKB charge. I think Spirit actually just takes that.
I think they'll definitely take it. Like fresh BKB from Monet there. Next couple of items for Team Spirit are definitely this Halberd for Yatoro. You have the AC coming out on Collapse. Honestly, a sick item in this game against this Aster draft. And for Aster, I think you need to find a win condition in a way where you get to either go around and kill the supports or burst the Bristle in the front. And I think that's what they're itemizing for right now. You have the Silver Edge being queued up, you have a Nullifier queued up on Monet as well, and a Hex on XXS. These are like 3 of the kind of GG item timings when you need to help yourself itemize in order to teamfight.
Kaka with the Shard. So the Mana Drain action. Actually, Mana Drain against the likes of Bristle is pretty damn
Very
good.
annoying.
Obviously, there is a Chakra Magic on the other side, and Yatoro not opting for a BKB quite yet. Does just finish the Halberd, though, so maybe he'll go for that next. But then again, if you're against 3 of these types of cores, actually, do you want to go BKB this game?
he probably wants to skip it. I think you just try
every
to...
core wants to skip.
Yeah, of course, but it's more like... I think he can skip it. Maybe there's like something where, oh, when they get Hex, I kind of need it to run in, but I would assume he just wants to tank up a little bit more as... I mean, Aster, you know, even we feel like, sure, it's been kind of Spirit who are stronger in the last couple of minutes, but Aster just... Not just holding on, but they've grown their net worth lead by quite a bit over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, a decent amount for sure.
Another KP cape.
Roche, it's a fast one. 35-second respawn timer. Yotaro showing up in the top lane. You can see the rest
all
of
ganging
Spirit
up on
in the
Yotaro here.
pit. Yeah, as Aster trying to find an angle to initiate onto Yotaro so that his back is not turned to them because there's no silver edge or anything like that. Getting recalled now, and he's going to be fine.
I'm just saying, I think Yotaro is in TI form. The amount of times I see this guy, you know, dodge these smokes and like do some insane plays is off the charts as Roche is respawning. And I would say Aster, this time around, they need to contest. They should want to contest this Roche.
There's no way to... Oh, did they scout it with the Ice Vortex? I guess so.
They saw it.
Does that get vision?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe no one really looked because it's just this little mini dot, but they should have seen that it's spawning as... Looks like they're TPing top. Maybe they want to get ready for... I mean, it is going into the dire side soon, so, you know, swapping up there, of course, is also a good play for Spirit, as they're now down 8,000 gold. Just keeps going up.
Yeah,
Laurel.
The Hex onto Laurel. We talked about how fragile he is. He just dies, just like that. The BKB is forced from Monet, and he's going to be the trade. So at the very least, Spirit gets something out of this. A roar was stolen, though, for the likes of Pichu.
Okay, so
far, be careful with that.
1-for-1 trade, but having Roar for the next fight, I would say Aster will definitely take that trade. As long as Roche doesn't like fall during this downtime, I think they're gonna be a-okay with that. As yeah, there's no Force Staffs on this Radiant draft right now. Miposhka and Mira, they both have Ghost Scepter, so they're kind of worrying about themselves. You know, team play, who cares? Mira's gonna look for the Force Staff next. So kind of close.
And the first Roche off of the game is probably upon us as Roche made his way over to the dire side. And both cores effectively respawning at the same time. Now the question is, do they know that Roar was stolen? They probably have a good idea.
They must know because he used it, right? So unless they're blind or deaf.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And the guy who got Roar didn't close his eyes, then they should know.
Well, he's going to have it again in 20 seconds, so he likely will just hold on to that.
Are we looking? No, we're not. Okay, Silver Edge is not being built anymore by Sumail. A lot of these big items, like Aster have the net worth lead, but they have a lot of dead net worth. Like the Nullifier is barely not completed. The Hex is barely not completed. So like all this net worth you're not really using.
Fighters.
Spirit. Roche half
Scout
HP.
the pit. Roche is getting pretty low. Aster's going to have to do something here unless they want to give up another Roche.
Okay, Kaka with the stun.
From the sideline. Collapse, ready to go as well, but they're just going to get it for free. So Yotaro with the Aegis and the cheese. Laurel gets deleted again at the start of the fight. And just like that, it's a 5v4, but with the Aegis on the side of Yotaro.
Ice Blast on Monet.
Ice Blast onto one. Monet pops the BKB, but the control is there for Yotaro for the time being. Trying to finish off Kaka. They will do so relatively easily. As Sumail kind of isolated here. Collapse going to pop the cheese, but Sumail all alone. And Yotaro Company should be able to finish him off in a 4v1 situation.
Yeah, they got him.
The rest of Aster have gotten the hell out of here.
Oh, damn, even with bursting Laurel there, like, he had a buyback, but he held onto it very well. Yotaro just kind of running in there, and Sumail, I think, maybe overestimating his strength there a little bit. Maybe not on the same page about how they truly want to go in, but we can just see, like, cheese being put to use. Yotaro has a moon shard now.
What in God's name?
Yo, this Bristle is strong as hell, bro.
A moon shard, okay.
He skipped the AC as Collapse has it, so his attack speed is through the roof right now.
Yeah, and they have AC, like you said, so being able to take these towers even faster as we see this replay of the Roche fight.
Collapse is just very tanky. Sure, they do get Laurel there. I think maybe that was even the stolen Roar at the start of the fight that got Laurel there. But yeah, just look at the front. And here's Sumail goes in, but as we touched on, you know, there's a lot of net worth that they're not fully using. So yeah, you're up 6k gold, but like, are you really?
And in situations like this, like, it's impossible to know, but Sumail all alone there, is there a miscommunication? Obviously, we talked about it time and time again, with him being an English speaker on a Chinese team. There's going to be situations like this that could arise, as Yotaro now knocking on the front door very aggressively, just like Americans are used to when the cops show up, and 4K lead for Aster. Let's see if they can hold this.
I mean, also, like, just the lifesteal aura, like, look at him. He hits for 480. When he's hitting these creeps, he heals for like 10% each.
Oh, he's gonna
nice
get lifted
live.
back into the base, and that's the Aegis, just like that. Nice job from Aster. He's got to turn his back. He's gonna get Hex. AA Blast coming
Ice
in,
Blast
gonna
from
connect
downtown.
onto 2. Spirit likely will reset, because remember, they used that cheese in the last engagement as well, so everything from Roche is now gone.
Okay, Aster get to breathe a little more. I like that the XXS swapped up his item build. He went for an AC instead of the Hex that he did have queued up, but with the, I would say the next item times where we need to see Aster fight back is the Silver Edge plus Nullifier that's also been completed by Monet. Like now, at least then, you have the options to all in whatever target you have and take a decisive fight. Because for now, the last 15 minutes, it's basically all been Spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
Shield Room, baby. If he gets to pop it, I don't really see them killing him through a stun.
Well, I would hope so, because he's been melting in these fights.
That is true.
He has been like the bait, I feel like, for Spirit. Aster kills him really easily, and then Spirit wins the fight somehow.
Yatoro just gets free reign after, so Lara is just
so.
kind of the meat shield.
But there is a huge item on the horizon for Aster, and that is the Silver Edge for Sumail, which not quite enough money yet to get it. Have to mind the buyback situation as well.
Yeah, they will have to play through that, but there's still, even when you break this Bristle, like with some of these items, right, he's got the armor from the Dragon Scale, he's got the evasion, you have halberds and blinding lights, like also against Sumail, who doesn't have a BKB, so, you know, he might just get pushed away, you can roar the Clinks and still save, but that is what Aster have to do. So I like that they're playing for it, but they'll have to execute it to near damn perfection.
All right, Sumail actually buys out, so he does not have buyback, still needs the recipe for the Silver Edge, but if they can make that kind of a surprise pickup to use onto Yatoro, that could be a huge difference maker in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I like that choice. You gotta buy out here. You gotta go for the big plays. At this point, saving buyback on your TA, not the right mindset. So Sumail knows what he's gotta do. Spirit are trying to be aggressive here. Don't really find anything.
Now Sumail, 200 gold away. I think they might just give up this tier 2 tower, knowing that this crucial item is just so close.
I mean, they have to wait. Still, the last 18 minutes, they've just had to wait until they find a good moment.
All right, Laurel now opting for the Shivas, so that will help him survive a little bit. That's a little bit more of a usual pickup onto the Ember Spirit.
Well, any more tankiness, it just works so well against the Dire Draft, because we've said it a few times now, but they're all physical. So getting this armor, getting these HP pulls up is very important, but here are the most important item timings for Aster. These win condition items that can help you kill this juicy Yatoro Bristleback. You gotta get him out of this game.
He's working on a nullifier for himself as well. I keep looking at that moon shard. I'm like, is that real? Monet, he's going to be spotted.
Very
Initially,
aggressive.
the roar is there. Ice Blast is coming.
Nice
but a nice
force.
force staff saving him. Yatoro, he does have his back.
There's a break.
He's going to get destroyed. Down goes the Bristleback. Kaka, he's the one lowest on Aster's side, and Laurel able to finish him off at the very least. And now XXS kind of stuck in a difficult position. So Aster lose 2. As Pichu did steal the remnants and will likely get away as a result. So it's a 2-for-1, but the big kill, of course, going the way of Aster. And now they've kind of shown that Silver Edge.
Well, definitely showcasing that they can kill. There's a very nice force step here onto Monet from, I guess, one of the supports, or maybe even Sumail. So very nice save there as they just keep the fight going. But we still see that Team Spirit, they don't really run out of steam. There's all this random stuff that's going around. Some Radiant Spirit that's back in the game. Hello, Sumail.
Well, he melts to try to hide a bit, but they have the vision, and he's just going to get chased down.
Okay.
And Laurel, he's just going to finish off a support as well as Monet BKB TP. He'll get out this time, but Aster kind of sticking around a little bit too long. And Spirit able to punish that.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happened. I mean, I guess they were under this high ground ward and sentry on this triangle, so just making use of that. As also in 10 seconds when they respawn, they've got recall. They can get their team straight back into this fight and push, and Sumail is no buyback.
Yeah, and now the barracks exposed.
Recall me, recall me.
Team Spirit gonna force out the fortification. Like you said, Sumail 40 seconds away, so even if Pichu was able to buy back here, which he is, 15 seconds away from the respawn time, they're probably just gonna give this up. And they will do just that, but now
it might just
Spirit,
go mid.
No reason to stop yet. You got that moon shard, put it to work. Yatoro gets recalled. And here we go. Hex from Kaka, trying to delay as much
Look
as
at his
possible.
attack speed. I barely see him hit. That's Kaka.
Kaka forced staff to safety, and now the building's continuing to melt. And this is going to be a melee rack at the very least, although Team Spirit backing up a bit. Telekinesis onto the bristleback. Look at the
Holy
damage on
shit.
Kaka, my goodness!
See ya.
Roar comes out as well. Kaka's going to buy back immediately. They get the melee racks, and now Spirit trying to run away. Remnants for Laurel are up, and they get away with murder here. They get
God.
2 sets of racks, they force a buyback, and Team Spirit, what execution that was.
My God, just instant recall, get the double racks, now you back off, spend your gold, and honestly, yeah, it's Team Spirit in all these games where we just watched them. It doesn't matter what the net worth is, at some point they just know exactly what they need to do.
Look at the damage on Yotaro. He's like one-shotting creeps.
It's disgusting.
Absolutely absurd. He's gonna have a nullifier here in just a moment.
Oh my God, he's about to hit level 20, it's gonna be even stronger, he's got the nullifier coming out. Oh boy.
Why is this hero not picked again?
Yeah, I don't want to ask you,
They're
I don't know.
making it look really good. He has a shield
Yeah.
move now. Good luck killing him.
Still holding on to the Dragon Scale. I guess there's not that many tier 3 items that will give you tankiness. I guess he did an RNG, the Defiant Shell in that one.
True, true.
So he will stick to that. Definitely very good.
Smoke from both sides. Roche could be up in terms of what they have information on. It's going to be another minute, though, that we can see. Yotaro is going to get nullified. The roar coming out from Collapse onto Monet. He gets off the BKB. The Ice Blast is coming as well. With a nice disarm onto the TA. Can't really participate in this fight.
Sumail's dead too.
Gets melted. Sumail is next. No buyback for either. And the rest of Aster now have to hightail away. XXS attempting the TP. No stun. Pichu's going to be fine as well. And I'm not sure if they're aware of the buyback situation on Sumail, but we can see he's only 200 gold away. Not sure if Aster can pick up any bounty runes. Might not even be enough at this stage. Yotaro just walking into the base the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, just give him the mana, keep going. If you feel like there's a buyback coming out, you can probably just back off, walk it off like earlier. So, mid-range racks, probably like 5 hits from Yotaro, and that one's going to be dead.
That's a big chunk right there. Yeah, that looks like 4 to me.
Yep, seems good. On to the third racks.
And Team Spirit looking to get mega creeps in this game number 1.
Yeah, 300 bonus damage. Love it.
It's actually absurd how much damage
Okay,
he's doing.
lift.
He gets lifted, nullifier as well. He's just going to stick
Access
around.
trouble.
He's not afraid to fight a Monet with no BKB to get out of dodge. Does drop to the deck. He buys back instantly. XXS, he has a buyback as well, as only 1 barracks remains for Aster, but they're going to respect the Sumail factor, and Spirit will back away.
Okay, that's a basher completed on Yotaro. They can recall him if they really want to. Of course, Laurel as well. He's playing Ember. He can recall himself into whatever spot he wishes. Roche is up, 36 minutes into the game. Gonna be a dire one, and this has got to be Aster's last hold. Like, they've got to be talking right now, okay, how do we contest this? Do we need to get there now? Everyone has to buy back with their whole family and come back into the fight, make it a 10v5, because these fights are not looking easy. What do you do against this Bristleback?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
When he's this farm this fast, it's certainly difficult. They're getting some Hawks out for some vision, knowing that Aster pretty much have to contest this Roche.
Oh, the scan misses, actually. So they're just checking if they're here on the high ground. Okay, but this Roche dies fast, my bros.
Indeed, this is Aegis Cheese and Refresher Shard.
Knock, knock, Aster.
Aster, Monet's invisible next to the pit now, but they're going to get everything. And now Aster forced to run away just a little bit too late. Question is, will Spirit find anything here? Ice Blast giving a little bit of vision. Sumail actually does get hit. Refraction's still active, though.
Kaz
And
now.
bottom lane is the last one. They're going to take the gate, and I do believe, Kezu, we're going to see a Tormentor steal here.
Really?
Will they even bother, actually?
They won't. No. Actually, they're not going to torment it. They're just going to go straight on the high ground.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They might even just smoke and sweep across, because they didn't take the gate to go bottom. Looks like Mipushka is a... There's some drawings on the map right now. I'll try to see what they mean. So
can you decipher those, please?
Push in top and then smoke across. Anyone got a smoke? Yo, Mira, brah, you got a smoke? No. So it's going to be push in top and run to bot.
Okay.
Very high skill analysis here.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. As Abyssal Blade is coming out soon.
Yeah. Almost done with the recipe. And Spirit picking a very unconventional lineup. We talked about the weirdness of it all game long. It's really worked out. Still not sure about the AA, but probably could have picked any hero at this rate.
Honestly, these ice vortexes are disgusting. I don't want to get snotted and walk on ice all the time. We have a 100 movement speed, but I'm gonna see what you mean.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. I mean, I would love to see A picked more often.
He's got the sound combo. Shiva overwhelming blink.
Okay.
It's the best sound in the game combo. Wait for it.
We will wait for it because he hasn't used it yet.
He will use it.
I hope
man,
so.
use your
He
blink.
did buy some expensive items. What, you want him to use it in fall?
I mean, he can just use blink right now. Look, he's mid. Look, he's connecting.
You never know when you need it. Abyssal Blade
I mean,
now
not
officially
right now.
online for Yotaro. Will they go for the Tormentor? That's all I
He has
can
a
think
DD
about.
rune.
This poor thing was created by Valve to be taken, and everyone ignores him. The poor cube in the building thingy has feelings, believe it or not, and yeah, they're just going to completely ignore it.
Yeah, who cares?
Bunch of traps here set up for this.
The big black dragon being
last line
donated.
of defense. Yotaro just one-shotting them, of course.
Where's this? There it is!
Yep, the initiation onto Monet is going to get 4-step nullifier applied to him right now as Laura pops
Nice
BKB
lift.
as well. And the counter BKB from Monet, but you can see Yotaro just beating away at this melee racks, forcing the last fortification from Aster. Yotaro, just a couple more shots will do it. Another
Nice
nullifier
chains,
applied to him,
good.
searing
Ooh.
chains onto several heroes. Glap jumps and gets off the first one.
Double roar.
Pressure into another, and down goes Aster. The GGs come out. The Tormentor was not killed in the end. And Spirit take a 1-0 victory. Very well played.
Even with like a 6 to 8k gold lead, I feel like Aster didn't really know what exactly to do on the map, and at some point, Spirit get their timings and they just make it look easy. It felt like Aster never fought into them, so going into game 2, I think they might look at something, you know, more diverse where they can fight back, because Spirit, when you let them have this, my god, they're gonna destroy you in this game.
And it felt like Aster in the lanes, they got up to a good start.
I don't think they could have done any better in the lanes.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't need to raise your voice at me.
Yeah, no, I mean, with the fact that they win 3 lanes and it still looks so
Yeah.
hard, it just goes to show you that there's
Wasn't it 7-0 to start the game?
Yeah, 7-0 with like a 5k gold lead, but it just goes to show you a bit of this, the overlap and Team Spirit's lineup coming together to beat the 7-0 Kaka Lion.
You know what? I'm not rooting for either team, but I'm happy to see Bristle win a game. This is a cool hero to watch. It's got this timing-based strategy around him where he becomes worthless the later the game goes, because you have so many counters in the game, but Yotaro able to absolutely crush this time around. He ends the game 8-3-6 with a ridiculous net worth, as let's see what the panel has to say about the Bristleback and Team Spirit taking a 1-0 start.
And I get to witness a win on the Bristleback. We got to see it live. Team Spirit getting themselves a W here. As Sunsfan mentioned, he ends the game 8-3-6 on Yotaro, and BSJ, most of those deaths happened. One of them happened in the laning phase, one of them happened a little bit later in the game, but for the most part, Bristleback remained relatively untouched this game. What happened?
Yeah, we were all skeptical on the panel about Team Spirit's entire game plan, entire draft. I mean, the fact that they first picked Ember, second picked AA, Bristleback, an unknown hero to this entire patch, but I'm impressed. I feel like what the Bristleback did was it allowed the rest of the team to do whatever they wanted, meaning that the Broodmother was creating pressure, the TA was creating pressure, you have a hero like Klinks. Your goal on the side of Aster is to utilize the map to farm on 3 cores, separate people so that the Lion can pick them off, and Bristleback was just receiving the brunt of all that pressure, but he didn't die enough times, I guess. I just watched this game and eventually it looked like, what do you do if you're Aster?
Yeah, what do you do here, especially with the start that they had? At some point, they're 8k gold up. And normally, when you have a lead like that in Dota 2 right now, you're able to translate that into a very easy victory.
Yeah, normally you can, but their draft is a little bit unconventional here. They didn't have the cleanest gameplay. Mainly Sumail didn't have his best game ever, for sure. But when you do have cores like a TA, a Broodmother, and a Klinks, you're kind of really relying on Kaka to make every single initiation. And it felt like every time he made that initiation, they would get 1 kill, but then the Roar turnaround would happen, the Ice Blast would happen, then you kind of run out of steam, and then your cores are just dying. And I really liked how Team Spirit itemized as well. They went for 2 Halberds early on, and Laurel was kind of flaming his item build at first. Like, what is he going? He's going Radiance first item, but Versus a team that is all physical damage, you're picking up the Shivas, you're picking the overwhelming blink and the radiance, you're slowing their attack speed by a lot, you're also making them miss hits. By the time it finally came online, his build looked really good, actually.
Yeah, again, it's very easy to itemize with some of these drafts. You're going to pick up AC. You know, there were some talks about potential Crimson Guard and everything, but I also want to touch upon Aster's itemization. This is one of the few Templar Assassins that I've seen that are not picking up Deso, because Kling's decided to go for it. Kling's has a variety of items that he can pick up. I think there should have been a different choice, because it slows down Templar Assassin. What she wants to do in a fight, she wants to jump the target, immediately kill it. It slows her farm as well. So maybe there should have been a bit of a swap, because Templar Assassin, he doesn't have that second option, you know. You try to go for a pike, it does slow you down. You want to keep the distance from the bristleback, Silver Edge. That's the big pickup, but it kind of came in too late, I would say.
Another thing that was somewhat difficult for the Klings to accomplish in this game, BSJ, is we had a conversation with Aframush, one of the Arabic talent here, and this broodmother from the offlane wasn't being a conventional frontliner, and they were struggling really hard to put somebody on the front line. Very often that was left to Monet. We saw several of his deaths happen where he's the one that has to run in first, but nobody else could really do that job on the team.
Yeah, just the whole idea of starting fights, the initiation, as Fear mentioned, pretty much had to come from Kaka, but like if Monet walks under a sentry, suddenly he's getting blasted and maybe they try to force staff him, but Klink's pretty squishy, he doesn't really function in the setting that they were provided with. I think Team Spirit's just such a cool team because we are all looking at the draft, probably individual heroes thinking like, man, this is some wonky ass shit here. But when you see it all come together, there really is a lot of what does Monet do? What does Sumail do? Like, yeah, maybe one or two mistakes and suddenly the game's just completely out of control. So Monet, I like the last pick. It was a cool idea, but probably back to the drawing board against a team like Team Spirit.
Well, Team Spirit came through prepared with some really cool ideas at the end of the draft. An example of how well they played with this draft that they assembled is our STC play from this game. So let's take a quick look again at what ends up happening here. At this point, the game is effectively over. You would imagine that there's some hope here, but one of the big things that struck me about this game, I was very skeptical about whether or not this AA could reliably land these ultimates. But similar to the point you mentioned the other day, Fear, does Boxy need setup for Marana arrows? Apparently, Miposhka does not need setup for these AA blasts.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're that good, but at this point, when you're in the base, you're standing far enough, you can set them up. And what I really liked here was the double roar here by Collapse. That was definitely sealing the game here. It's like, okay, maybe Aster, they can defend this one last barracks, but they're just too farmed. Collapse pops out with a double roar there, and at that point, just seals the game.
Yeah, you see the power of their lineup in the last couple of fights where there's so much damage on the ground, itemization-wise, Bristleback with the Aghanim Scepter, AA, also overwhelming Blink on Ember Spirit. Not the usual item you'll see, so they're moving at 100 move speed. If you don't have a BKB, you're not going to be able to run away, and Bristleback is going to tear you apart.
Yet another game though, BSJ, that we see Lau genuinely popping off. Like these last couple of days, I've been beyond impressed by the kind of play that he's brought forth. Different itemization, different ways of playing the game. And although we might say that, you know, Monet has forced to initiate for his team, Lau was happily doing it for his squad. As soon as he got BKB, it's no longer your Toro Bristleback that's the frontliner, it's the Lau Ember Spirit.
Well, you're talking about all the items he has. I want to talk about how he got him. This guy was first pick overall Ember Spirit, and he won his lane. So, I don't know. Is that on him? Is that on Sumail? I'm not sure, but either way, I'm impressed.
So what do you make of it? You were saying that Sumail didn't necessarily have his best game.
Yeah.
How favorable is the matchup for TA in general, and what could he have done differently in Kid Game?
I've seen this matchup go both ways. Most of the time, people are like, yeah, Ember's fine versus TA because you burn up their fraction. That's generally true, but sometimes you take Mill Strike after Mill Strike to the face, and then the lane gets hard. I think he just got outplayed this game. Sumail, he just didn't have his best game. Normally, he's known for his laning stage. That is his strongest point as a player, and he lost his lane in a matchup that he got a counter pick. So for Team Aster, that's not good news. They need to be able to fix that in this next game.
Going into the second game, Lacoste, what do you want to see adjustment-wise coming in from Team Aster if they want to make this series competitive?
Yeah, I want to start with the draft. I don't think they should be picking, you know, this Templar Assassin plus, because it's the first phase Ember, first pick overall Ember Spirit, so it should get punished more. He lost his lane, as Fear mentioned, and also last pick Klings for them. I was not feeling it. I think this hero is in a really bad state. Maybe as a position 4, he can pretty much do the same job, just slightly slower. And I want to go back again to itemization. Neutral items, a big factor in this game because you've seen Yatoro. He's been holding the Dragon Scale for a really long time. He understands if I just get like a casual extra armor, there's a Gossamer Cape that the supports did have throughout this game, and also Cloak of Flame. So getting a bit of a, you know, luck. It's also like what you tend to choose from the neutral items, but overall good choices from Team Spirit.
Team Spirit making all the correct decisions in order to come away with the victory here in Game 1. They brought out the Bristleback, the first one picked or banned in the entirety of the Riyadh Masters. Team Aster also tried something new with the Clinks TA, but it didn't necessarily work out for them. Let's find out if they have what it takes to make this series competitive as we head on over into Game 2 after a small break.
I would say my signature hero, as it is right now, is Disruptor. Disruptor is kind of support who can do a lot of stuff without net wars, but also he scales if you get some money. You can buy Axe, you can buy Blink, some support items, etc. So basically he can do a lot. It's definitely Fishman who basically showed me a new way to look at supports, or like a new way to look at the laning stage. Disruptor is, at least back then, he was like most anti-meta hero to carry players or like to core players, because playing against Glimpse, ulti, basically this, you know, control that provides Disruptor and teamfights is insane, and it felt good to play Disruptor back then. And then he kind of dropped out of the meta, and I would say Fishman brought him back into the meta with new way of playing Disruptor on lane with Glimpse instead of Q. And because of it, I kind of got back to it.
I think my signature hero is Morpling and Naga. But Morpling sucks now. Yeah, maybe Naga.
No way. Once again! Shanks
No
is
way.
the Bacchus killer! He has his number, his Instagram, his Facebook, his MySpace at this rate.
I think their mobility.
If his carry dies, Panda feels the need to die too.
And like controlling the illusion with Naga. I'm good with it.
Maybe signature hero of the years, Enigma. I think it's always been on and off for me, but there are times where, yeah, like I started out playing a lot of Enigma, and then it's kind of just always came back at some point in all my teams. I think at some point it's coming back.
They have the Batrider one, and the Enigma one is 100 off, but 100 off is not here.
Pressuring Zai, managed to get the black hole off, but he's slowly burning to the sun rate right now.
Nice
Now the Supernova is going to be used, and they use the Fiends for picking up the last one under Uragi. He's in trouble, and he's going to die.
What I enjoy most about Enigma is just the all the mind games that go into black hole. Like for example, for me, I like to not use this spell so much, and play around like other aspects of the hero. Like for me, if I play Enigma and someone like ends up picking like Rubik or Soundstair or something against me, instead of like trying to brute force my way to use Black Hole, I would rather like just play on my minions or something and just go RS and do stuff like this.
Welcome back one and all here to the Riyadh Masters as we're entering into Game 2 of our upper bracket matchup between Team Aster and Team Spirit. One of these squads will go down into the lower bracket. One of them will proceed into the top 6 and earn a cool $800,000. It's a $500,000 matchup on the line right now, and so far, Team Spirit are in the driver's seat. A bit of an unorthodox draft, but the thing I loved about what they did here, Lacoste, is they demonstrated that when you have a good idea, even if no one else in the tournament is doing it, you just pick it.
It's definitely a statement from Team Spirit. AA plus BB, it means you have no CC in the lane, but overall, just like thinking outside of the box. Something that Brian said while we were on the pause, it's like he lockpick some of these strong heroes against Ember Spirit in the lane, like Huskar, Necro. You know, Necro's not the most popular hero nowadays, but you know, you can see how they're drafting, like they're staying 1, 2, 3 steps ahead. It doesn't make much sense maybe when you see it straight away, but when you see how the game's played out and some of the other bans and picks, it really clicks.
Yeah, really clicked for them, really made sense. At the end of the day though, BSJ, Team Aster also tried something new. They weren't picking Clinks this tournament. They were not picking Templar Assassin. Sure, the Lion, you know, very staple pick for them, but this was a bit of an unorthodox drop from them as well. Should they be going back to what has been winning for them thus far? Just go back to the bread and butter.
That's a tough question to answer, because part of it might be because of how weird Team Spirit's draft was. I have to believe that if you're just picking all this wonky stuff, that it's going to shake you a little bit if you're Aster. Like, are we supposed to just pick what we came to? Like, we didn't draft prep for first pick Ember into AA and a Bristleback. So I will say that that's a decision they have to make if they see these heroes. They know something weird might be coming that they're unprepared for. What we saw in that game was they were up by 7K, but their overall synergy as a team was lacking. And so if they might want to prioritize that going into game 2, because as long as you have synergy within your lineup, you can always play from any position in the game.
Yep, one of the things we also saw that Brian is mentioning here, synergy, right? There were so many times, so many fights in this game where it was so apparent the pieces that could come together for Team Spirit, but for Teamaster, you're thinking this has to go right, this has to go right, this has to go right. I want to see them simplify the draft here going into game 2. So what do you think? Easier draft for them maybe?
Definitely just, if you want to win your lanes, just focus on winning your lanes.
Okay, focus on winning your lanes indeed. Let us find out if they'll take Fear's advice on board as we get into game 2 of this matchup. Game 2 is underway. Team Aster versus Team Spirit. Team Aster this time around will be playing on the Radiant side with the first pick. Team Spirit occupying the Dire second pick. Looks like the bans are going to be relatively similar. We're not going to be having a Snapfire. There's not going to be an IO potentially, but Timbersaw being removed instead right now by Team Aster as their first overall ban. What do we want to see here from the Radiant side, Brian? Given that so far IO is still available in the pool. The last time they went around, they led with Lion. Is that still an option for them?
I wouldn't necessarily like Lion right off the bat. Going off of what Fear said, that's not exactly guaranteeing you to win any lanes. With Snapfire banned out, I'd say IO. IO feels pretty safe. All the other heroes I'm seeing them lead off with in first pick are Clockwork, Coddle. None of those sound particularly appetizing for this series, so I would like to see the IO.
Dusa banned. I wonder if that's signal.
Oh man, this is an inter-series meta if I've ever seen one.
Speaking of statement, Team Aster is like, yeah, seems like this is gonna be the hero of the series. If we go to like game 3, you know that this hero gets banned in the first phase. That's how it usually goes.
Hear me out.
Okay.
What you got?
So, game number 1 here. I think the big problem that Aster did, if they're gonna win their lanes here, is like, they did not counterpick the Ember right away. And this isn't the old patch. This isn't Dusa first pick. This isn't Morph, heroes that are uncounterable. This hero is counterable. They waited really long to counter it. They picked a mediocre counter. It didn't work. Please crush this hero when they show it. When you show this Ember, don't first pick a Brood. That's not really good versus Ember throughout the game. Just pick your mid laner here. Pick some Shadow Fiend for all I care. Something stable. Crush this hero on the laning stage. Make sure he's a burden. And if you need to, last pick your offlaner or your carry, whatever it might be, make sure your lanes win. Because this is the big weakness, I think, of this Ember first pick is it's exploitable in the lane. It is very exploitable. And I just think last game Aster did not do a good job of it. And I think their read of like trying to steal the strategy, it's very bold and I don't think it should work if Spirit have the hindsight to kind of like figure that one out.
The question that you then have to pose is, you know, you do draft prep for Aster. Does Team Spirit do draft prep for the team that's drafting their own strats against what they
honestly
prepped?
Sometimes you do. And
okay.
Because that's like, so like you draft first your coach, right? And
yeah.
I've done this before in many draft preps, and they're like, they just pick the counter because they know what I'm gonna pick. I'm like, but you knew what I was gonna pick. I was like, so I'm like in the lobby with you. Of course I know what you're gonna pick. So at the same time, they kind of know what's good against what they're gonna play. If the coach wants to just win the draft against like the captain, right? He was like, I know what you're gonna pick. I'm gonna counter pick it preemptively. So they probably actually have a good idea of like what they should be doing against us.
Looking at the opening from Team Spirit, this says you cannot pick any of these illusion-based carries. Lion plus Darkseer, they're gonna destroy you. We're gonna kill your illusions. We're gonna make illusions out of you. So that's a no-go for Team Aster. It's also like, I don't think it's the greatest pairing, but for the lane, but I feel like this Lion fixes a lot of problems that Darkseer does have in the lane.
I was really hoping they'd go Ancient Apparition there. I didn't think they would.
I will keep this too.
That'd be a bold statement if I've ever seen one.
Like completely copy their draft. That would have been great.
In this game with this Rubik, one thing that they do have, besides having AA, they still have an abundance of magic damage, and you can steal the Ion Shell, put it on the Ember Spirit, give something extra for Sumail to go into the fights with.
True. We also saw earlier box that you can steal the mana drain and just mana drain the enemy carry if they're reliant on mana. That was one crucial part in killing the Duraccio Slark at a few points. So I'm just being acute a little bit. But the question we have now is, what does like Aster look to do for Monet? Because you talked about a lot of illusion carries are like the reliable carries in regards to the farm they can get from minute 7 to like minute 12 if they lose their lane. So suddenly you're staring at a lane that pretty hard to like fend off unless your 5 is something like an Undying. So I would lean towards Aster giving Monet a babysitting 5 to ensure that he has the start that he needs, because I don't think they're going to pick a hero in the likes of Bristle that wins its lane on its own.
And what I like that Team Spirit did in the previous game is they first faced Ember, but they didn't defend Ember Spirit with not a single ban in the second phase. So they banned TB, they banned Medusa and Faceless Voids, because they probably had this Bristle back in the back of their mind that they're going to pick it. So this time, Aster, they need to protect the Ember Spirit. I'm already seeing Dragonite, one of the matchups that Dragonite was really good against. And then let's see if they're going to pick more, because looking at Lars' hero pool, he has a couple of good heroes left still in the pool that work against Ember Spirit.
His Puck is still here, his Queen of Pain is still here, his Wind Ranger is still here. I imagine one of them is going to be on the minds of Team Spirit. And they have removed away the Smars. This has been a big weapon that whenever Team Aster has their backs against the wall, not just at this tournament, but historically here, they just whip out the XXX Smars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad choice either. With the Ember, you don't necessarily need that type of hero, so it goes back to your point. It's more of like a comfort. Like, you do have your back against the wall. You don't want to lose the series here. Go back to like what you think is going to get you the win. And Mars could be that hero for them. And I am always going to be a fan of just targeting comfort over just sometimes the best overall pick, especially in these high-pressure situations.
Damn it, I was about to suggest that hero, dude.
This is a big ban. This is one of XXS's better heroes. He played it when the hero was not as strong, but this also feels like he's the, I'm not going to say like the biggest hero of the tournament, but definitely one on the rise, because there are certain teams that they love to play him, like EG, they're undefeated with the hero, and they play it across 1, 2, and 3, all 3 roles pretty much, which would be really good against Darkseer. You kill off these illusions, and also against Lion. Having a Dispel mechanic, you go into Ember Spirit. We saw a couple of times in the previous game, no real saves against Ember Spirit, and Lard died a couple of times, so this is a really good ban.
I believe right now, Legion Commander, of all heroes with 10 plus games, is now the first highest win rate after the win earlier from Team Liquid. It was sitting at 23 games with 74% win rate earlier. It should be at around 77% right now,
crazy.
tied with the Marana.
Yeah. I'll just say that like they're really targeting XSS right now with these bans, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just banned Tide out of respect, because at this point, like that's his most played hero by far this tournament. They've banned out like number 2 through 5 so far, so I'm wondering if that's like a approach they take because they think he's especially good at these heroes, or because they might think he has a hero puddle and that he's worth targeting in that extent.
Yeah, they just beat his Brood. They already took the Darkseer. Timber's banned. The only other hero that's in that he hasn't played is the Tide and Beastmaster, if he does want to go that specific route. And Beast, I think, could be a notable ban too, because you just lost to an Ember plus Beast, right? So you definitely saw some synergy there. So potentially worth taking out, but they're going to leave both of them.
Maybe know thy enemy? Like they know exactly what he's going to pick on 7-8?
I think Slark's going to get contested.
I like Slark a lot.
I'm feeling it for probably like most likely even both of the teams, but I'm liking it for Team Spirit. You know, Ancient Apparition is gone, Faceless Void is gone, no Bloodseeker, so feels like very good entry for Slark.
I really feel like if they just take Undying here on Team Spirit, it makes their draft so much easier. Like, if I'm Team Aster, I want to babysit Monet. There's not too many other options left in the pool. I know Team Spirit picks it. They go Enchantress. Okay, that's kind of like counter or preventing the counter on themselves, right? Because of the purge onto the Ion Shell. It is. Maybe it's also preemptively countering the Beast, as you mentioned, Fear. That might be why they went that route.
True. And Poshka, this is one of his specialty heroes throughout the time. Back when he was playing on Empire as POS 4, he was like playing this hero every single game, so definitely knows what he's doing with that one. But he doesn't necessarily have the easiest route here. And there goes Slark Io. Io's still in the pool, actually. Slark Io, that could be a good one. Gives you the Stain versus the Darkseer. Don't really care about the wall illusion too much. And that gives you a hero that can, I mean, if you think of like Lion, you want to assassinate this hero right away. You got Ember plus Slark, great heroes to do it.
I don't love it as much for Aster as I did for Team Spirit, but I think by taking it away, you are taking away one of the premium picks that Spirit would have had right here, so I don't mind it for that reason.
Yeah, no Bloodseeker, no Faceless Void. So that does make his game a bit easier for the Slark. What other heroes do you not like carry-to-carry matchup as the Slark?
Yeah, I'm thinking, out of all the ones Yatoro's picked this tournament, none of them are particularly scary. So they might do some like conceptual counter to him where you go like the Sven and you just have an insane team fight.
But
with
remember,
Darkseer.
Brian, before the prior game, he had not played Bristleback whatsoever, right?
That's
Yatoro
true.
sort of made a career out of just picking whatever hero is good.
Oh,
And,
that was not on his hero's pick,
exactly.
but Naga owns Slark, absolutely owns Slark throughout the entire course of the game. They do have the lane counter coming up from XSS, but we've talked about, like, they've banned a lot of his heroes already. Almost, now that I think about it, surprising that they left XSS's hero to last because of that reason.
And there aren't many heroes left in the pool that he played so far, so I'm looking at Tidehunter just because of the lane matchup against Naga Siren. Anything beefy that could cause problems for Naga Siren. There's something that would give them more team fight, because I'm looking at Team Spirit. They have overwhelming team fight. Naga Siren Vacuum, it's just like Lion Stun, and we're yet to see Larl's hero. It has to be something that does well from the mid lane, some kind of a hero that Slark is afraid of. I'm looking at Puck potentially. I don't mind it too much. I think also it's a good Wind Ranger game, because you build into BKB against the Slark. It's not like the best one, and there's the other option that Fear mentioned. Like, there were 2 heroes left in the pool that so far XXS that are not banned, so most likely gonna be 2 of those.
This is a sick Naga pick. I just want to say, I think like the draft's like over.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's still something here, for
What
sure.
do you think they got?
I mean, I think
Troll.
actually, for who? Who needs a carry?
Never mind. I'm like, yo, it's
Slark off with Amar style.
Amar's not here, so somebody
This is
has
not
to play
Amar,
Slark
yeah,
off
okay.
lane. How about Underlord for the side of Team Aster? It's not a hero he's played at this tournament, but he has utilized it in the past for XXX.
Well, that's my problem right now for if you're looking at Aster's hero pool. I was mainly looking for Team Spirit, cool things they can do. I think Spirit can make their draft a lot better, whereas Team Aster, they kind of need a lot of damage control here to like kind of solve this, because they already have their mid, they already have the carry, and now they need an offlaner that can deal with Naga. Darkseer is gone. Underlord, I do not believe in that hero whatsoever right now. And you go back to like what's left. He could potentially go for the Tide if he wants a free laning stage. Doesn't really deal with Illusions later. And then Legion's gone. There's really not that much left that can really pressure this Naga, I feel. Maybe a Primal Beast or something?
Yeah, Primal might be good, actually.
I like this ban on Earthshaker as well, because these Eastern European mid laners, they're really good at using Earthshaker, especially if it's a mid melee matchup.
Yeah.
We saw Kiyotaka play it. Okay, this has been like the hero that is...
Oh yeah, Pudge versus Naga's good too.
It really is good.
Yeah. Even if they offlane it, it's still fine.
That's a nice ban.
That is actually a good ban, but that does leave maybe that was probably better than anything I just mentioned. That definitely was better than anything I mentioned. That the runner-up was probably Primal, right? In that situation.
I think they're just gonna slam Tide because that's all they play, but I don't like it that much.
So the offlaners at this tournament, what? There's Tide, there's been some Underlord, there's been some Enigma, hasn't looked that great. Everything else is pretty much gone. What else do we look at outside of the Primal Beast?
That's all I got for now. But
I'm hoping whatever this is, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, same.
What about some good old Axe in the lane? Just to have Blink Initiator, something tanky, a little bit more frontline, create chaos for Slark.
Yeah, the question is, can you match them for team fight on Team Spirit? I think the answer is no, right? So maybe a pickoff hero like Axe is fine. Maybe a hero that creates pressure on the map. I don't even know what that would be. Like all the summons heroes are bad against Naga.
I still see Primal as the only like thing that could. It's
Get in
tempo,
there.
has a good laning stage.
Play Widow in this
play the
lane.
game, right? And then for Spirit, it's kind of crazy. Like you first picked Ember, and they're just gonna last pick their mid. They're gonna go with Doom.
How did we forget XXX Doom?
Because it's not good versus Naga.
Okay, so this is an awkward kind of Doom game here, Lacoste. What do you make of it? I saw your facial expression, fam. Explain yourself.
This hero has been nerfed so many times. He is still money printer, but you know, tends to get broken from time to time. You don't get the full value anymore. I feel like it's a bit on the greedier side. Just Doom, Slark, Ember Spirit, like they need items. They need to get online, and definitely didn't expect this one to come out. You did? Okay,
Yeah.
Lesh without Io doesn't have too good of a win rate, if I'm not mistaken. But
You are against Ember mid, which I've seen this hero do well, and then you're playing versus Slark. So it's between this and maybe SF, but nobody seems to enjoy picking SF mid nowadays. So one of the two options I thought could work really well for them.
Lon hasn't won a single game though with this Leshrac BSJ. This is his third game on the hero. What do you make of it, especially being paired, as they've mentioned, there's no real battery for this hero. There is some frontline, though, to make things a little bit easier for him.
I did say the draft was unlosable at the Naga pick. I'm not a huge fan of the Lesh pick, in the sense that I thought they lacked single target damage. Like, all they've really got going for them is the Lion Finger. Like, Naga tends to chip people down. Same with the Darkseer. I think the first game we saw, like, we doubted Team Spirit's individual heroes, but their vision of the game was superior, and I think I'm kind of seeing like a similar vibe here. I don't think Aster's team fight's all that great. I feel like they're totally meant to play the map, meaning like split the lanes, look for pickoffs, look for advantageous numbers. And you're doing that against the Naga Siren, and I think Naga Siren is meant to prevent that from happening and provide that for her own team.
Yeah,
so I'm still leaning towards them.
Add to my point about not liking this Doom as much, because there are multiple targets you need to Doom. Target's gonna get surged. They have very limited amount of control on side of teamaster, and also like you have Song, Leshrac. If he gets his ulti off, he gets doomed. He's still gonna be able to deal damage. Song of the Siren Surge. So many things that they need to be careful about. So I feel like they can reset. They have so many problems that they need to focus in a team fight. So I'll go with Team Spirit one more time.
All right,
I just don't know who Io's going to play with this game. Because normally the way Io likes to operate is you want to link up with some Razor or Leshrac mid lane for the mid game, then you link with your carry. His cores are Ember and Doom. None of these heroes particularly like, you know, fighting early with some type of just tether. So Monet's going to have a really good game, has to have a really good game, and just have to play a lot around this IO, maybe defuse the rush and just get in their face really early and try to make that happen. But it looks very difficult. Yet again, they're running a draft that's kind of hard to pull off.
Well, several times in the past, we've seen Monet on Team Aster rather, have to pull off impossible games on the slot. And time again, including at this tournament, he has somehow managed to impress. So let's find out if Team Aster has what it takes, or if Team Spirit will once more knock them into the lower bracket. We find out with our illustrious casting duo, the gentlemen of the off lanes, the grab ally duo of Sunsfang and Kezu.
That's right, very illustrious indeed.
The grab ally duo. It's you and me, baby.
That's as illustrious as it gets. Aster versus Spirit, game number 2. The panel absolutely hates Aster's draft. What are your thoughts, Kezu? Do you agree or disagree?
To keep it short, I agree with them. This is a great Lesh game, just on its own, and then he has a Darkseer behind him to give him the auras, and a Naga that can always song him out of any pressure, because Lesh loves playing against slow damage heroes. Slark is a slow damage hero, as is Ember, as is Doom, so I think Laurel haters might just be in shambles after this game.
Oh, wow. He does have a lot of haters, so it seems.
You included?
What do you mean, me included?
I mean, every time we start, Laurel has not been performing.
I mean, that's the narrative. I'm here to tell everybody what the narrative
story
is. I don't have a narrative. I just echo what Reddit says.
You're the Reddit echo. Great.
Yeah, that's right. Reddit's a very important entity in this community, of course.
As one thing that, I don't know if we saw it, but Aster abused something very nerdy, where they smoked Monet into the mid lane with his night vision, so they know where Spirit's mid lane ward is, and Spirit get themselves 3 bounty runes. What a great start.
Yep, a very good start for them. And
Your life, much like your head.
well, I had nothing to say after I said "and," so we'll just go with a separate thought entirely. So, from Aster's perspective, you don't like their draft. We've made that very clear. What can they do? Because obviously, any lineup you can win with. We've seen it so many times. What is like the best case scenario for them?
So first of all, do well in lanes, which, yeah, anyone can tell you that. So that's going to be a good start. If you can do well in lanes, try to play around Sumail later, maybe when your Io gets a couple levels. I think Fear was mentioning, like, who does Io play with? I think that is a little strange in this game. I would say eventually you want to leave Monet maybe alone and have Io, like, move to top with the Doom, kick out the Naga. So they need a good early game and get both Sumail and XXS farmed in the game and fight in the mid game. If you don't fight back to Spirit, I don't know how Aster can play this game.
Right, that was your biggest criticism of game 1. Yeah. Was the fact that Aster did not fight back in the mid game, despite being ahead in net worth by a pretty juicy margin, I would say. As Pichu links up with Monet to try to harass Mira a bit, as these creeps are kind of all over the place. So the lane in shambles, to use your words, of course.
I'm glad you're using some of my words.
That's right. Thank you for the vocabulary. Very difficult one indeed.
I mean, top lane is going to be pretty chill. I think both Naga and Doom just practically free farm in this one, but what Aster needs to be very careful about is later when like Miposhka maybe moves into mid onto this Ember, because Lesh against Ember is, you know, I would say it's a pretty skill-heavy matchup, but I would give a slight favor to Lesh by like 55-45, 60-40. So if you can move there with a support and swing it, that is a huge deal.
Get out of it.
So far in the mid lane, relatively even in terms of CS, so nothing to write home about either way. And I mean, we were talking off camera about Naga and the history of this hero. Carry, support, carry, support. I feel like this is the thing that shocked me the most with our internal conversation. I'm going to out you here.
Okay.
I feel like everyone hates this hero as a spectator.
No.
Throughout all time, and you apparently love one aspect of it.
Support Naga can be incredibly fun to watch. Even a well-used core Naga, if you... The beauty of Naga Siren is Song of the Siren. That spell is actually really incredible if it's not just used to wee song and TP out, you know? If it's used to like you song half of the team, or you set up the black hole, or you're a support and you song the people in the back so your team can kill the people in the front, you know, that's good shit. But every of these core players, just like, I'm farming up, they're coming, song TP, song TP.
The first 3 or 4 TIs when Naga was picked in literally every game, the crowd would literally boo every time a song went off. That is the correct side to be.
What a timeline. You just boo at someone using their spells.
It's the only time that a Dota crowd has booed, other than when Slacks is on stage. But anyway, 1K lead early on for Team Spirit, as the laning stage seems to be going in their favor just slightly, which is not good news for Aster, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it is at least very early on. I would say that Slark, Io are going to be, you know, just A-okay here. Monet is going to get his Pharma, but as a Darkseer, I don't think you mind this lane very much. There's a lot of melee offlaners who hate playing into Io Slark because you just get kind of, you know, clapped down. But as a Darkseer, you can just shell, double shell. You can, hell, you can even fight into this lane once you're level 3 here with Collapse, so I don't think he really cares.
And even though I never thought I'd bring up this hero, but I am interested in your take, Lion was kind of ignored for so much of this patch, and then all of a sudden, I mean, obviously there's a couple people that pick it literally every game, but now we're seeing Spirit pick it up. Like this hero making a resurgence.
Yeah, but both Kaka and also Tofu played it quite a few times in the Grand Finals, I think, of the Bali Major. So just kind of showing when other support heroes get nerfed, or maybe you want a bit more lockdown, because I think there's a lot of Spirits right now being played from the mid lane as Sumail taking quite a bit of hefty damage. So he's going to go into the bottom water rune. Like, ooh, good vacuum to save Mira. Stun in 1. There it is.
Impale's there. Oh, but they're not going to get the first blood because Pichu gets it on the IO first. But if they can get Monet, which they won't, Collapse, they'll have to just walk away in shame with the Ion Shield to farm. Meanwhile, Yatoro, big wand charge there. Blood grenade right now onto the Rubik, and that's going to be the kill going the way of Spirit, but they're going to lose Yatoro in the process. So again, Aster on both lanes, happy with the exchanges being made.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, this mana burn creep up top definitely helping Aster in that lane. As bottom, I think Mira maybe not the best timing on the blood grenade, which did give first blood, I think, to Aster down bottom. Sumail gonna get his bottle refilled here, as we just have a lot of pressure in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, absolutely.
This little dirty creep just following Pichu here on his IO.
And I would assume Collapse is going to be given a little bit more solo XP, or do you think they continue to actually aggress you for a kill?
Yeah, I would say until now, like, you've set up Collapse for a good game. He's close to Vanguard. It's going to be nighttime plus 6 from the Doom, and you want to play through your mid hero. So I would say both Mira and Miposhka very likely just going to look moving into mid, like, within the next half minute. But for now, I mean, Collapse is just pressuring them out of the lane.
Yeah, completely pushing them out. You can see the wave all over the place again. That's kind of a Darkseer specialty, as now the siege is starting to hit this tier 1.
Yeah, any tower damage is very annoying this early on. Like, this tower is potentially dropping to like 60-70% HP as here comes Miposhka.
Coming with a Centaur.
The Big Daddy gang.
Monet with the pounce out, but that just means they can try to force this tier 1 tower to die with this siege being tanked up. The tower being tanked up by the Centaur for the time being. The siege gets up a few more shots as a result. Now a new wave is coming as well.
Well, I'm a big fan of this play here from Team Spirit, as, you know, Yatoro, he just farms the jungle. Like, Aster can't do the same play up top, so you just bring Miposhka down here. Tower already on half HP. Spichu kills the courier. Well, luckily for Collapse, he already got his Vanguard.
And the siege continues to stay alive, although it's targeting Monet at the current point in time. Back to the tower. So they get a good 300-400 extra damage on this tower just by making this rotation. Very interesting play. You don't really see that very often.
Yeah. Larl did get himself the DD rune, but Sumail currently doing a good job. He's kind of keeping Larl like not too high on HP, so it's not as easy for them to move into this lane. I don't know for how much longer Spirit really want to keep up this tri lane. I think Collapse would love to have a couple more levels. Like, sure, if you take this tower, it's like cool and all. What the hell is this chicken doing here?
Yep, it's dead in midair still on A. We'll get the Dark Pact off, and we'll reset with Pichu's help, of course.
Oh, good pull from Pichu to try and reset the lane here a little bit.
Poor been there since beta, I believe.
Yeah, that's a feature now.
Yeah, I guess so. Yatoro and XXX basically soloing now, so in a 1v1 for all intents and purposes. Do you think that Aster has enough, and I already know your answer to this, but I want you to expand on it maybe, because the panel did touch upon it. Do they have enough answers for this Naga? Is this just an uncountered hero for the most part? Like, Sumail's going to have to get Maelstrom at the very least.
Yeah,
like what else can he go for?
They need farm and levels in order to deal with the Naga. They do have some answers. Like, I wouldn't say Doom is like a one-sided matchup where Naga just owns Doom. I do think Song, of course, is great, and as is the map clear and the map play. But if you can Doom him and like kind of get on the back line, you still have some answers. The only problem is there's also a Darkseer that can like surge out Naga. But if Sumail gets to like some 4/5 item timing, you know, and it gets like later in the game, I think Aster are totally okay with that.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Another courier battle here, but Pichu will not be able to net himself another one. The courier killer of the tournament, just making up that stat in case you're wondering. Definitely don't listen.
Yeah, #1 courier killer confirmed here. Thank you, Shannon.
Which actually makes me miss kind of these bounty hunter type picks where they just sit around.
You hate Naga, but you love bounty.
It's fun to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Never mind.
Well, Impale coming in from the sideline. Mira with the Hex to follow. And Kaka gets split earth, so that's going to be a kill going the way of Spirit. And now going to try to turn this around into a tier 1 mid as well. That Diabolic Edict now level 2. And, I mean, there is a TP coming to tier 2, but I think it's going to be too late. This looks to be a freebie for Spirit.
Yeah, this one's a goner, and I think a little similar to game 1. I'm really impressed with how Spirit are using their heroes. You just leave the Naga alone up top, because, I mean, what's the Doom going to do? It's not some Meteor Hammer stuff that he's going to take your tower. We have Kaka coming down bottom, but Collapse has a Lotus stick. He's not that weak.
Yeah, they're thinking twice about whether they actually want to try for this.
I mean, his team is coming too.
First. Yeah, they are on the way. And Collapse going to the other side now. And Laurel and Mira just waiting for an opening as well, but Laurel just going to farm up the camp and likely just go back mid.
Yeah, I mean, Aster have very good vision here, right? Spirit are literally standing on top of a ward. There's a good lane ward as well, so they're just holding this for now. But there's one thing of, like, when you play Slark with Io, I think you want your Io to kind of, like, go to someone else. Because you want levels on Slark. You want higher levels Pounds, higher levels Essence Shift. So them having to kind of play together, because Io, I think it's just awkward for you to go with anyone else, right? Like, where do you really go? So your only options are to farm up and then kind of own Spirit when they overplay.
You can see it just in the laning stage. 3k lead for Spirit.
Yeah, they're just chilling.
Darkseer's getting literally every creep in the wave now because they can't contest it. No way to deal with the Ion Shell.
Ooh, 1 to 8 bounties. Hello,
that would
friend.
also help. Yeah, that is actually a bit surprising. I mean, they do have an Enchantress running around, but to get 1 bounty in 10 minutes, that is not good for Aster.
Yeah, it just tells you the state that Aster don't feel too comfortable like running into these kind of jungle spots, right? Like when you run into these open spaces against there's a random edge or random line, you get hex stunned and suddenly you just die. You know, Aster, they just kind of need to hold these lanes right now because you don't have too many plays. Maybe if you get some more levels, you can look for some chains or Doom and to relocate. But you know, Spirit, they have a Naga, they can just hold the map as they want to.
The tower does help in the net worth, but you can see the lead between, or the discrepancy between Laurel and Sumail's farm is pretty large at the moment. And really the only saving grace for Aster is XXS, who has literally been left alone in this top lane. He has his Midas, and will likely go for some sort of a Blink Initiate.
I mean, the only thing with Doom is, if this hero is your top net worth guy, he will stay there, but he doesn't really help elevate your team in any way until like, what, 10 minutes later from now, where he has a completed BKB and a Blink, because this hero doesn't really want to fight, and he doesn't want to leave his lane. He's going to keep farming, so that's something Aster have to play for. So there's
first
a
relocate of the game. Poshka is the target, though, for Aster.
26 still.
Because he is level 6 and has the untouchable. They're not going to be able to touch him here. Poshka
3 seconds on
forcing
reload.
the rest of Aster back. Some TP's coming in from Spirit as well. And Laurel, he's surged up right
Still
now.
level 5.
And he's going to be able to clean up Kaka at the very least. There's a Searing Chains to keep him in place, but that was, I don't know, Aster just doesn't have the damage.
Yeah, like nice skill build from Miposhka, right? The 0-3-3, Fluffy hat, Fairy Fire 26, also has the Seeds of Serenity. Cannot underestimate this item. Like 150 bonus HP on a hero like Enj. That's pretty chill, as now they're stealing stacks.
Oh boy. Aster just getting pummeled in every single way possible, it seems.
12-minute Manta style. This is a free-farm Doom who has the same net worth as the Naga Siren.
That is true. Doom, if left alone, should be top net worth,
and
no
he's
questions
not.
asked. That is a bad sign for Aster indeed.
This is why also this Naga pick is like incredibly genius. It is amazing against Slark. It is great against Doom and against Io. All these heroes want to do is play the map, and you just help your team.
Second attempt on Miposhka. He gets off the heel with the Seed of Serenity again. And again, Aster can't kill him. And now Monet and company on the run. They have to give up a... that's not a support. That's Sumail. Gets off the Remnant.
Okay.
He's going to be able to get away, it looks like, but just barely. Does cost some TPs from Spirit, though. And Diffusal now online for Monet.
I like the deviation from XXS. So he's going Blink. Monet just picked up his Diffusal Blade. You actually have a timing now with the swap up of your item builds where you can try to fight back if you find the right fight. But if you have problems killing a support Enj, I'm not sure if you can cut through a mid-ledge with a Bloodstone at 30 minutes in a game.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their supports. Like, other than Fade Bolt, you don't really have any of this burst damage for the Enchantress.
No, Kaka needs 1 creep for level 6. My bro is gonna get it soon.
I actually misspoke. Miposhka doesn't even have levels in the ult right now. He is level 7. I thought he definitely had Untouchable, but doesn't even need that to survive. My goodness, level 3 Nature's Attendance is enough.
Yeah, just quick fingers on the heal, Seeds of Serenity, all the heals coming up. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna break some records here on the last hits as Yotaro, you know, with the Occult Bracelet, you never run out of mana. He can skip this Bastion, the Sage Mask, because this item is OP as hell. He is looking into the Orchid, and honestly, that is gonna swing everything. These people can't just split push on the sides anymore. He can just set them up with the Orchid.
So from Spirit side, we can see that the lead is just continuing to go uncontested. Is there a time where they're gonna feel comfortable starting to fight? Or are they just happy with the state of affairs and maybe go for an eventual Roche?
I would say...
Because the Roche lineup is not the greatest.
Yeah,
it's
Spirits can continue doing what they're doing, as perhaps we need to hold that, because Aster is smoking on them. They have a blink on XXS.
He does have Song, but he's going to get stopped. Doom comes out successfully onto the Naga.
Stolen Earth
All
Spike.
5 members of Aster will be here to claim their kill on Yotaro. A much-needed one.
Great move. This is why I love this Blink Dagger change up from XXS. If you just go BKB, you're just slowly bleeding out in the game, but instead with the Blink, you can play aggressive instead of sitting back. So a very, very needed kill here for Aster to try and come back in this game.
Very low kill, 3-3. It's just such a weird game.
Yeah.
And Spirit just...
I mean, Spirit are strong enough to fight whenever they kind of like run in, but I would say their game will really speed up when they get this Boots of Travel on Laurel, the Blink on Mira, and this Orchid completed on Yotaro as, Sumail.
Yeah, Sumail gets hexed and destroyed.
He went to the wrong neighborhood.
Monet and company, they will be able to get the tier 1 top in the meantime, but yeah, losing Sumail again, you can see his net worth really struggling.
Yeah, it is dropping.
He is not having a good game.
He's kind of the one that later in the game, if Aster want to have a good shot at beating out this Naga Siren, I think he's got to kind of pop off, which of course from this point is incredibly hard. So he's going to have to try and recover. Hopefully him and his team can find some good moves with the relocates and get back in a game with a Maelstrom, which he's not even, he doesn't even have it yet.
Yeah, you talked about both him and XXS being the ones that pretty much have to pop off for Aster to have a decent chance. XXS, like you said, is having a good game. BKB will be, it's actually not that far away, essentially a recipe away.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, Sumail just has to find some way to come back in this game.
I mean, that will be one of like their next moves as well, right? Every time you have Doom relocate, you can try to go for a play. It is also nighttime now, so you can try to abuse Monet's night vision, but Monet is struggling in levels. Like, I have to touch on it again. Constantly playing with this ball who's just sucking out all this XP from your game.
Yeah.
Like, he's 3 levels below a Naga Siren as
Orchid being revealed by Yotaro. Relocate just a little bit of range away. Actually, I thought he canceled it there, but either way, Monet's going to get away. And Yotaro, I mean, probably didn't even think he was going to get that kill. But either way, he forces them out. And like you said, there's a 3-level advantage between him and Monet.
Yeah, and usually Naga Siren is not the carry that out-levels you, because she kills half the creeps on the map, like not being there.
Yeah, true.
And he's just farming like jungle creeps, so definitely
well, it's
good
not
sign.
often that you can leave your Naga solo against somebody either.
True.
For a very long period of time.
True, as now I think this is a scary timing for Aster to play into, as they're looking for similar smoke as before. They're running into Yatoro.
He runs into them. The Orchid comes out again, and XXS with the Doom.
Beautiful play
from them. We've seen this story before. And Aster again.
Oh, that's a
very
huge comeback
valuable
kill. That's like 900 gold shared between the bros here. Sumail needed this kill. He now has the Maelstrom back in the game. I mean, XXS is definitely delivering in this game. Like this Blink pickup already got them 2 kills on Yatoro. A little bit of a mistake for sure from Yatoro to move so aggressively. I don't think he had any purpose doing that, but you know, Aster, they'll take that.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, he's died twice. He's still top net worth.
Yep, somehow.
How much he was ahead. Sumail.
They got the Blink reveal.
Have we seen this story before as well? Right after killing Yatoro, Sumail. Oh, he will get out thanks to the remnants and the save from Pichu. They are going to lose Papa, though, as XXS stuck in the corner. Gets off the Infernal Blade with the hoof stomp as well. Is Monet coming to play as well?
I don't think
his
so.
Target, but Monet's going to think better of it. Pounce away. So XXS does drop. It's a 2-for-1, effectively, with Yatoro dying earlier.
Fighting straight up into Team Spirit. Okay, Yatoro's back to the same spot.
He's still not scared.
No, he's gonna be a-okay. As down bottom, we have Sumail in trouble.
Sumail, split earth, and they have the burst this time. So Sumail takes another tumble. That is death number 2.
We're just in a similar story as game 1, where it's incredibly hard for Aster to fight into the Spirit draft. At least at this timing. Sure, you're down 9k gold, but even then, like, there's all these 10k gold now. It just keeps going up.
10k at 18 minutes with only 3 more kills. Very strange.
It's a nice vac, but you can't fight into them. Like, even TPing around to try and help you, I think is not the right call. You need items, you need levels. Like, XXS needs this BKB in the next fight too. He has to put his team on his back.
And Mira has been finding such good openings. And that finger, that's his second charge now. I mean, that's one of the things that we don't really talk about too much from the support side. Just winning your lane so early. Them getting just a little bit more farm than usual and getting like these Blink Dagger type items, especially on a hero like Lion that just gets the instant X.
Yeah, like you win these lanes.
You can snowball just with that hero, it feels like.
And there's, especially having a Naga and a Darkseer in your draft with an Ench, like you have 3 heroes that just keep pushing waves. XXS.
Mira, another Hex into the Impale. Yatoro's there with the Orchid as well. Do they have the
relocate behind though?
XXS, yeah, relocate coming. Song though
nice
from Yatoro.
Song. Stolen Song.
He is gonna TP out. Yeah, can't get in range, obviously. I would have called Bug if he could.
Feature.
That would have been very strange.
We have a Metal Leshrac getting in there.
Yeah.
You are not killing this man.
Shield
Run.
Rune. Kaka is just going to get chased into the ends of the earth. Laurel on a wicked 6 spree. He is 7-0. Laurel haters in shambles.
No, they are. I told you before. And they probably all tuned out at this point. We only have fans now at Spirit. They just continue to slay the Chinese region. This could be the 3rd 2-0 in a row from them. As
that is, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's really impressive.
They just look in top form. I don't know, man. The way they're moving around, how they're using their heroes, they're just making Aster look like fools. And this team is good. I mean, Aster is incredibly good.
Did you say that you're the one that picked Spirit to
top
be
top 3, baby? I don't know if top 3 or top 2, but top 2, I think.
Top 2?
I don't know what I was smoking, but it was good. And true, apparently.
Yeah, they're looking very good right now, for sure.
I believe in Yatoro. This man, in TI form, is one of the scariest carry players out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the fact that he's died twice and still has no fear. Because fear is an analyst at this tournament.
Yep, and never mind. I was going to flame him and say he's garbage. I don't know why.
Well, you still did. In the end, into the Roach Pit, Spirit goes. And this is going to be uncontested, and likely Laurel will be the one to grab it since Lesh, well, not only is it an amazing hero to have it on, but he's also on a very big killing spree. So protecting that at all costs is pretty important. Whereas Yataro's died a couple times.
No, he's
much harder to kill in general.
He's kind of chilling. He has the heart coming out soon. I mean, putting this Aegis on Lar wherever he's like this roadblock, and the more he comes to you, you just need to dodge him. You can't do anything to this man at this point, so you're down 10k gold. You have a BKB completed on Monet. He's working into the Mage Slayer. But I think you need a triple BKB to fight back, and until then, just play the map, try to get pickups, and delay the game. Because, again, fighting into Spirit, it's just not possible. I don't know what they need to do in order to fight them, but I feel like they just can't.
And we'll see how much Spirit can get with this Aegis. There are still 2 tier 2s remaining in the top and mid lane, so would assume that they get that at the very least. Maybe even a Tormentor.
No. What's a Tormentor, Shannon?
Maybe a Tormentor. As we're going to see, well, slight smoke from Aster.
Solo smoke?
Yeah, might just be for a ward expedition.
Without wards on him?
Okay, well.
So not a ward expedition.
And a very strange smoke indeed.
He's smoking to break Spirit smoke and then die.
Oh.
But they're not there either, so. As creature might be
farm
on the receiving end up here. Mira, surged up.
Tower is under attack.
Nope.
Monet a little too fast, but the song catches up from Yatoro. He buys the heart midstream as well.
Let's see if they can time it.
Can they?
Got
Impale
one.
is there. The BKB comes out from Monet, so the IO the only casualty thus far.
Oh,
but Mira
they got the Rubik.
taking out the Rubik as well. Gets the Hex into the finger.
Oh.
That's enough.
Oh, he got
Monet,
him.
They cancel the TP. Monet? Monet! He could have TP'd so much earlier, and they get that on top of it. Oh my goodness, a 3 for Nada.
I think he waited.
Tier 2.
I think he waited. He waited until the very last second of the vacuum. He didn't cancel the vacuum with the start of it, but the end of when you get sucked into the place. I think only the very last moment actually canceled the TP there. That was incredible.
This was a newly picked up BKB as well.
Okay, hold. Sure, they kill Kaka here.
Yeah,
like, look, he gets sucked in.
Oh my goodness. That's so close.
Collapse a monster.
And now, already high ground for Spirit. They get the tier 3
and
at
the racks.
23 minutes. And I can't see a scenario where Aster holds this. This is against Aegis. Spirit showing up in very good form today.
I mean, they don't have the damage to touch either the Lesh or the Naga, I think, at this point. They need, I mean, they still got some cool items if they get there. Shiva's and
Diabolic
BKBs.
Edict finally up again. They're going to try to jump Larley.
Stolen Earth Spike is a good one.
BKB onto XXS. That's the Aegis.
Can they do more?
Spirit are running a bit low on some spells. He's going to blink out instantly. So Aster do successfully defend the melee racks, which of course is the important one.
Okay, they get to hold. It's time to get out on the map. Get yourself a couple more items and levels because we really need them. This Stolen Earth Spike on Kaka could do a lot. He also has an Aether Lens, of course, the max out Arcane Supremacy because they need every little bit that they can get. You want to get to your next couple items, maybe the Sumail BKB, smoke around and look for a good fight, but Spirit, they're not giving you any time to breathe. Oh, straight to mid, or maybe even straight to top. The double fake.
Yep, they're gonna
Careful.
try for it. Oh. Hex finds Sumail in his base where he should be. Finger Death is there, but a nice stop from XXS. Laurel, though, is there with so much damage. Gets off
good
the illusion rune as well, so not sure who to do. He does get the successful one on the correct hero, but they've already lost 2 cores. Make it 3. This honestly could be good game already. And Spirit will take 4. Rubik forced to go back in his base. And now the buildings will absolutely melt. GG's
GG
called.
is
I can't
called.
blame them. This was a, wow. This was a shellacking if I've ever seen one.
This was a shellacking as Spirit. They're just showing up. I mean, this team, I feel like they're just back. You know, they haven't looked as good in the last couple tournaments, but this one, you know, Collapse, he's like, where the haters at? Yo, let's make some noise. Damn, they're just looking good. I love how they're playing. I love how they're moving. And I feel like Aster didn't really show up in the series. Spirit just really have their number.
Spirit, they've been inconsistent, especially since picking up Laurel with Toronto Tokyo leaving of his own accord, but it feels like these tournaments where, hey, $15 million on the line, I guess we'll start playing well now, right?
It's time to show up, guys, at Spirit. They're in pre-TI/TI form, and yeah, these are some of the scariest players when they are in shape, and I don't think they're stopping yet. Top 6, you know, making it look quite easy. Just looking strong, moving forward here.
Yeah, Laurel ends this game 8-0-6. With Maposhka, the second most kills with 5-0, by the way.
He just tanked every
Mira
smoke.
and Collapse have 1 each, and Yatoro, as well as he farmed, 0, 3, and 7. And he played amazingly. I don't know what to say.
Just makes it so easy for his team with like all this wave push. It's such a good ledge pick. I think really with Aster's drafts maybe not the easiest and kind of falling behind, but Yeah, man, Spirit just look, they look dominant. I want to see their next games.
Yeah, they're of course going to have to wait for the winner of our next series, and then they're going to have to wait more days to actually play them, so they'll have a lot of time to prep. But what about Team Aster, Kazu? They've looked really good at this tournament. They've kind of been a bit shaky here and there. It felt like when Sumail first joined their team, they had this huge honeymoon period, if you will, and then they kind of dropped off, and now they started to resurge again. And this showing was, especially in this game too, it just kind of flopped.
It looks a bit disconnected, I feel like, with what they were doing, both draft and gameplay-wise. So they're gonna have to kind of, you know, step it up for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, looks like we're ready for an interview with Tsunami and company. Take it away.
That's right. I'm standing by with Mira of Team Spirit. Which, what did you just say to me as this game was ending? It was.
Like this was unexpectedly easy games for us. We like respect Aster so much, and but I guess that our draft was much better. So I think like that's why we win.
زي ما تشوفون أعزائي المشاهدين موجود معنا ميرا من فريق سبيريت بعد كان فوز جدا قوي ضد أستر اللي كانوا مرشحين بالفوز في هذا الجيم، لكن سألنا السؤال الأول إنه وش اللي خلاكم تفوزون في الجيم؟ وش الشيء اللي تكلمنا عنه قبل ما تبدأ المقابلة أصلاً كنا نسولف معاه قبل شوي، وقال لنا إنه أكثر شيء خلانا نفوز الجيم الدرافت حقنا كان جدا كويس، أفضل من الفريق الخصم، خصوصاً إنه يعني ما كنا متوقعين إنه بيكون بهالسهولة نقدر ناخذ الدرافت هذا.
I got to say, your development over the year as a team has been interesting to watch. It seemed like Lima Major was your guys' strongest performance, and then some kind of dips and valleys between Berlin and ultimately Bali. What are you most proud of for your team working on this year?
Like on Collapse Hero Pool, I think this is the biggest achievement like over this year. So I think finally we can pick like OP heroes first phase and win. So I think yeah.
زي ما تشوفون أعزائي المشاهدين السؤال الثاني إنه وش الشيء اللي أنتم كنتم فخورون فيه أكثر شيء في الفترة الأخيرة، لأنه أدائهم ما كان ثابت في كل المياجر الماضية، حتى في البالي ميجر يعني بالأخير في الأسابيع الماضية شاهدناهم ما كان مستواهم باللي هو إحنا متوقعين منهم، بس كان يتكلم هو فقط عن الدرافت حقه إنه أخيرا إحنا نقدر ناخذ الهيروز اللي إحنا نبي ناخذها، ودائما يكون الشيء هذا من صالحنا، وفي حتى بعض الهيروز اللي دائما يكون هم باند عنهم ما يقدرون ياخذونهم الحين.
Now, normally this is a filler question that I would ask, which is, what opponent would you like to face next? But with an Eastern European showdown, I have to wonder, do you have a preference between BB Team and 9 Pandas if you who you would choose to face off against next?
I guess it's hard to choose because they're both like super skilled teams. But I think I would like to face Pandas again to play like against their Doom one more time and actually try to counter it. Maybe some Meepo Broodmother one game and Tinker. I don't know. They are so cheesy and I would like to beat them like on stage.
السؤال الأخير سألناه البيرة في المقابلة نتكلم عن مين الخصم اللي أنت حابب إنك تواجهه في البطولة، خصوصاً إنه يعني الآن حنا في مرحلة البلاي أوفس فالجروب ستيج انتهت فالخصم معروف اوريدي، لكن مين أنت تفضل إنك تواجه BB تيم أو 9 بانداز؟ فكان الجواب إنه لا أنا أفضل 9 بانداز إني أواجههم أكثر، خصوصاً إنه دائماً البيكات حقاتهم من ناحية الهيروز درافت حقهم ولعبهم مرة تشيزي ويكون في أشياء مختلفة عن الشيء اللي احنا نشوفه من بقية اللاعبين.
Well, Mira, we'll see if we can make that happen. And thank you for kind of putting us back on schedule. Today's a long day, so we'll be tuning into this Eastern European showdown, but congratulations on this win.
Thank you. Thank you.
الآن جاء الوقت أعزائنا المشاهدين نروح في هذا الاستوديو التحليلي نتكلم أكثر عن وش اللي صار في الجيم هذا وكيف قدروا سبيريت أصلاً إنهم يأخذون الجيم بهالسهولة، وزيادة على كذا آخر بلاي أوفس عندنا آخر جيم الرابع راح يبدأ بعد شوي.
All right, it's 4BO3s. Let's get this night rolling. Back to the studio.
Thank you very much, Tsunami, Fancy, and of course, Mira, support player for Team Spirit. Man, they are just crushing it right now. 2-0 victory over Team Aster. And Lacoste, man, I'm tired of Team Spirit talking trash about the tiny teams. They said LGD was an easy opponent. They said this was unexpectedly easy. What's going on? Why are they just slaying the Chinese region right now?
Yeah, it seems like they have their number, the play style. Like I already mentioned a couple of times that China tried to like maybe copy some of the Western European teams, how they play Dota, especially extreme gaming, but I don't know. I feel like Team Spirit was in their head when it comes down to the drafts. This first draft when they picked Clinks, Temporal Assassin, I don't think that's enough. And same goes for the second game where they, like, I think this is where their draft took a wrong turn, picking up Io, and you don't have a hero that Io plays off well with. And then last pick Doom into so many counters.
Yeah, they felt really, really rattled after that game number 1 there. You first pick mid-Ember against Sumail. He gets the pick of his litter, what he wants to counter against it. Then all of a sudden, Sumail loses that matchup. And then Sumail's like, you know what, you can do that, I can do that too. First picks the Ember in the next game. Laurel schools him there too. So I think at that point, like mentally, Aster, they're probably not in a great spot and they need to reset, especially Sumail. He kind of got schooled in the mid lane today.
Yep, the entire team got schooled here at BSJ because Team Spirits find themselves now tied third for the fewest deaths suffered in an entire game here at the Riyadh Masters. Only 4 deaths. And when you say that with a team against a team that has Slog, Ember Spirit, Doom, these are killers, right? And they just were not afraid of any of these heroes.
Yeah, let's see. Laurel, 8-0-6 against Sumail. I mean, this is the Laurel we were hoping to see. I also have harped on them all season, Team Spirit, of they were like forcing Yatro's hero really early in the draft. They were like first picking anti-mages, first picking drows every single patch, and they won TI off of this guy picking like 18 different heroes in one tournament, and we were consulting our list of what heroes he's played so far. I'm sure Aster's thinking something similar. He had not played Naga yet this tournament, and he had not played Bristleback yet this tournament, and he just whips him out. This is the TI winning Team Spirit that I was hoping to see all year, and it's honestly, I love watching this team.
Not only does he whip them out at the very last moment, he also does so in a fashion that he plays them at an S tier level, and he's also able to draw a lot of attention towards himself and free up the map for his team. And as a demonstration of that, let us show you our STC play from game 2. This right here, we see this Naga Siren busy respawning because he's been killed off, but the crucial thing here is that he died to the Doom. That's like the only real team fight spell that they have. So you know what they decided to do on the side of Team Spirit Lacoste? They're like, let's just run at them. What the hell can they do about this?
Yeah, this fight seemed pretty over without the Doom. Like, where's the damage coming up from? Because Slark needs to lock onto a target. He doesn't feel comfortable getting close to Lesh, and Lesh has a free reign with the Bloodstone. They can easily get pickoffs, and man, Mira on his Lion. You know, we talked about Kaka Lion, but Mira Lion really on point with his rotation, with his stuns. And also, like, this Dark Series doesn't strike me as like the most like collapse hero when it comes down to that, because you know, he's more of a type of a player that does tend to be flashy, but he did one hell of a job. Like, he also like 3 heroes rotating to his lane and he doesn't die. Like, the stuff that he, like, just understanding where the heroes can be, and even if they bring an extra hero, that he's not gonna die there.
Yep, he doesn't die, pretty much played perfectly throughout the entire course of this game. And one thing I loved about watching them play Fear is you can just very clearly see the communication that was happening. One piece of the puzzle falls out, all right, cool, we're gonna make this other disparate move. Somebody's getting smoked on in one part of the map, we're gonna fight somewhere else completely different, force you to have to respond to us, because they knew they don't have the damage on the side of Aster. Lanes did not go nearly well enough to justify full-throated 5-hero rotations. It just felt like the point BSJ mentioned in the pre-panel, that their home map just belonged to the Naga side, and it just felt so easy for Team Spirit to play the map here.
Yeah, I think that comes a lot down to you're first picking an Ember, then later on the draft, you're trying to pick the IO, when normally all the IO partners right now, we only see it with Lesh, we only see it with Razor, and it's because those heroes use IO really well for the mid-game. And you saw Mane trying to make things happen with his Slark, but you normally don't want to be in that situation with carry. You want to be able to pick and choose what fights you go to. We saw Yator just go onto the Slark on these fights, just orc him, try and kill, and I was just sitting there watching it, and he can't do anything there. And it was a very defensive play from the IO, so the supports couldn't really do much in this game, and Laurel, as a result, kind of won his lane and got free roam on the map.
Yeah, Laurel, this is honestly the Laurel show at this point in time. A lot of people, even Fear, talking trash about Laurel, not necessarily like fully convinced as to the state of this guy's potential, but he has really shown himself to be a top-tier mid laner. Taken a little bit of time for him to develop properly, but now that he's here, he has announced himself quite well on the main stage and definitely has earned our Kadir MVP award for this particular series here. He was the best player in the entire lobby. He deserves it. BSJ, is there anything you could have done better, honestly, in the series?
I felt like his mid-game in the first game was a bit strange, not in the sense that I saw something specific, but that he won his lane and then he was 4th on the net worth in like at 20 minutes or something. But his itemization, like his scaling in the game, his vision of the game, like what I always saw lacking from him in the like early parts of this season was it didn't feel like he was seeing the later portions of the game the same way that the rest of his team was. His vision of their win condition, exactly what time that was going to happen, when are they supposed to sync up, and it's like he had that Radiance BKB timing right at the same time that the Beastmaster had his AC, they had Aegis, they had the Moonshard on Bristle, so you could just see this team firing on all cylinders, and what I'm really happy to see someone like Laurel who's added into a situation where you have 4 TI winners and you know, that's a really tough situation to be thrown into, a lot of pressure this year, and he's handled it quite well. I also credit Miposhka as a captain for always believing in him, and like I have to believe has a strong influence on like molding him into the player he's become.
Yep, I mean, we're even talking about his itemization fear, the fact that he was able to skip items like BKB just by blink. Like, I'm gonna buy this aggressive way to play, and it works, right? We can never touch this guy, and if you go on them and you die, who needs defensive items?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of these mid laners, they play so many games, they know depending on how the game is going, they can change randomization. If he's having a bad game, he'll probably go in the BKB, but he knows he's so far ahead that he can just keep pressing that advantage, going for that early blink, be able to follow up. We saw multiple times on Sumail after Mira blinked in, hexed, all of a sudden, Laurel's there with his blink dagger follow up, and that could have been the difference why Sumail was able to die so many times.
Well, they get themselves now into the top 6. $800,000 already confirmed, clear and clear for the side of Team Spirit. Team Aster dropping down to the lower bracket, and they're going to have a difficult road to climb their way all the way back into a grand finals type of situation. With this win, Team Spirit also gets some revenge for being eliminated from the Berlin Major by Team Aster. However, this situation has happened before, Lacoste, where Team Spirit eliminates Aster in the upper bracket, forces them down, and Aster makes the run back to meet them in the lower bracket final. It was at Arlington last year, but does this Team Aster team, from what you've seen so far, do they have the potential to make that run back?
It's not an easy one. Looking at the bottom of the bracket, there's so many good teams that they need to get through to meet Team Spirit again, and it's a difficult road, most definitely, especially because Gaming Gladiators, they are down, and eventually they might need to face them. But one thing that we mentioned before this series started, they were on a 12 BO3 losing streak on Team Aster. Now it's 13, so definitely doesn't look good. These elimination games, it seems like something's in their head and they can't break the barrier.
If you're in the back room, you're talking about like how you believe in mental blocks in the game of Dota. What do you think it is that's blocking Team Aster from being able to win these best of 3s, despite always looking good in the group stages?
That's really hard to say. It depends. Like, if you oftentimes you don't succeed in certain spots of your career and you get put in that spot again, there can be that mental block where, oh, we're here again, we're probably going to lose. It's in the back of your mind. I feel like Liquid versus Gaming Gladiators is a good example of that in the grand finals. It's very difficult for them to win. And if Aster does get put in the situation where they get knocked to the loser bracket really early on, maybe it's just like, oh, not this again, and they kind of go into autopilot mentally, even if it's subconsciously, it just happens.
Let's talk about positives though, BSJ, because Team Spirit, you mentioned it earlier, Yatoro playing heroes that he was not playing the entire tournament up until those points. Does this now give them back the degree of confidence they had at TI to just be like, pick Yatoro or whatever, or pick the win condition and have full confidence that this guy can play it at a tier 1 level?
I feel like what they're doing is they're allowing themselves to come into the series and say, we're going to concoct a specific strategy. Like Lacoste mentioned, if you look at their first draft, the bans they had in the second round almost looked like they were setting up for something like a Bristleback to come out in that last pick. So that means they feel creative. They feel like they have the poetic license to just like approach whatever best of 3, and each one's worth so much in terms of money and prestige at this tournament that it's worth it. They're going to put in all the time and effort, and they have the capabilities on Yatoro. Not very many carry players do, of just picking whatever. So yes, I think they have the confidence. They look like they're comfortable. I love watching this team like this. They're just interesting. I think that's what they're great for Dota.
We shouldn't forget, Lacoste, that this is a team that last year here at the Riyadh Masters, it's not like they were just some random flash in the pan team. PSG LGD won, but it took beating Team Spirit, and Team Spirit was on a massive win streak against PSG LGD up until that point. With this kind of form, I think we have to start asking questions about whether or not they're the ones that belong in the grand finals as our top seed from the upper bracket.
Potentially, and like the next opponent that they're going to face is going to be from their own region. So these inter-regional matchups, they're really good at. Some of them they lost throughout, but they have, I would say, the most experience when it comes down to there's Solo and there's Ramses when it comes down to experience on side of 9 Pandas. But the BB team, you know, you'll see them crumble from time to time, even though they are on the streak right now. I'm still giving Team Spirit like the upper hand in those matchups.
Team Spirit have already proven that they're capable of winning upper bracket matchups, sweeping past Team Aster and setting themselves up for yet another run into a grand finals here at the Riyadh Masters. Of course, as we heard from Tsunami, this was not the final BO3 of the evening. We still have one piece of business to conclude, which is BB Team taking on Nine Pandas, the Eastern European matchup. This is basically El Clasico from the region. You do not want to miss it, so return in just a few minutes to witness the